Hey, hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hi. I have to go grocery shopping after work, so I'm a bit late, but I'm still gonna go through everything. Humph. Ooh, okay, since we went through Cow and Civil Eternal's files and modules, you only have to do there. We'll do the story thing instead. And hello. But starting off with Helliger, the record. I feel good, I'm excited. For tonight's dinner, I'm probably gonna eat a salad. I know, right? So healthy. I also have prosciutto and cheese, so not as healthy, but yum. Healthy enough. Hello. But yeah, starting off with Helliger. Oh, Helliger, you look so cool. So file, basic info, codename Helliger, gender male, combat experience 44 years, dude. That is impressive. 44 years. Place of birth, Ursus. Date of birth, May 5th. Oh, his birthday was a couple days ago. Happy belated birthday, Helliger. Race, Libery. Height, 193 centimeters. Infection status, crystals have appeared on his body. Infection confirmed by medical examination. Physical exam, physical strength excellent. Mobility excellent. Physical resilience standard. Tactical acumen excellent. Combat skills outstanding. Or genome assimilation standard. I mean, true, he was a war comrade, but still, 44 years. 44 years. Now I want to know how long the Duke of Wellington has for his combat experience. I want to compare. Profile. Helliger once belonged to the Ursus Imperial Guard. He is the acting manager of Azazel, an underground clinic for the Chernobog infected. All other relevant work experience has been lost. His mature knowledge of military theoretical systems and his ability in combat make him suitable for a vast majority of combat missions or combat operations. He is currently in an agreement to be stationed at Rhodes Island, where he provides tactical support. Duke of Wellington got that level 99 combat years in his belt. I believe that. Oh, you found me for the Eerie Mad. Cool. Man, I want to come across my ad. Like, gosh darn it. It'd be so funny coming across in the wild. And now, clinical analysis. I had to steer for a tiny bit. I'm like, where did I go? Hello, welcome. Clinical analysis. Imaging tests have shown the outlines of his internal organs to be indistinct due to abnormal shadows. Originium granules have been detected in the circulatory system, confirming him to be infected with uropathy. Cell originium assimilation, 13%. As leader of the infected clinical Azazel, Helliger's infection symptoms are manifestly present. Blood originium crystal density, 0.21. Concentration is currently within a manageable category. Perhaps, Azazel does indeed have a unique technology for slowing down the spread of infection. Honestly, who isn't interested in the technology Azazel uses to treat this disease? Of course, it's pointless to ask the General. He doesn't understand any of it. He doesn't understand any of it. Wow. Medical JA. He's just existing. Archive File 1. It is unknown when Rhodes Island operators began referring to Helliger as General. Although Helliger has never revealed his identity to anyone else, members of the Ursus-infected underground have always regarded him as legendary. This has led all operators to take an interest in these rumors. Of course, as an Azazel infected, Helliger himself has said that he is more adept at helping the clinic continue its operations rather than developing its medical technology, influence, and scale. In fact, Helliger does indeed guarantee Azazel's status. For many years, Azazel has been an important pillar of support for the Chernobog infected. Most of the local infected are grateful for Azazel's efforts. But maintaining a benevolent, neutral stance cannot protect this clinic in times of political turmoil. After all, they are too influential. Whether by trying to remain neutral or actively trying to topple a certain party, they inevitably put either tangible or intangible pressure on one side or the other. It would be better to say that being able to escape the Chernobog incident unscathed proves that Helliger possesses acute foresight. Helliger has his own opinions of the chain of events that might lead to the clinic's destruction, but said he is unable to divulge more information until more definitive evidence presents itself. At least for now, Helliger is mum about everything regarding Azazel. If one wishes to ask about Azazel, it is better to ask one of the other operators. Imagine this Azazel works somewhere just outside the Ursus borders for obvious reasons. Yeah, understandable. Outside the borders, or maybe they have an underground area like in the sewer systems. Archive File 2. Helliger maintains an intense hostility towards Ursus authorities. Part of this hatred is derived from his desire to protect the clinic, and the other part is due to reasons unknown. Though Helliger is by no means a defeatist, he still has taken a hard attitude towards operations in the Ursus area. However, when analyzing the military power of Ursus, he said no political entity should come into direct conflict with Ursus. Even if its corruption and fanaticism will eventually destroy it, it's still the most fearsome force in the land. From this point of view, it could be said that, as an infected himself, Helliger's opinions on many matters are far more critical than those of other infected. All strategically minded operators have their own thoughts on the situation, and they're all aware of Rhodes Island's true circumstances in it. Helliger's relationship with Ursus may make a small number of operators distrustful, but operators who attended the strategic meetings all understand Helliger's true intentions. But Helliger's words contain no contradictions. He believes that, as an infected, he's already on Ursus' opposing side. However, once Ursus looks at you, you will know the difference between being an enemy of Ursus and Ursus regarding you as one. Archive File 3. Classified Log. After analyzing a large amount of information and many pieces of intelligence, we've inferred some facts. Now, we will list out some psychological analysis of the subject for personal reference only. Over the course of his life, he has suffered 2 traumas that he is still struggling with. The first trauma was when he watched a longtime friend pass away in front of his very eyes. His friend was the commander of the enemy army, the target of his mission, and was identified as a core figure in the enemy army by Ursus. The second trauma was when a terrible battle broke out between him and the person he trusted most. After the battle, he was still standing, but the fate of the other person is unknown, as if he died in some unknown alley somewhere. Poor Helliger. The first time, his friend entrusted him with a blade called Kudari Kiri, and a young infected girl named Neon. The second time, the person he trusted left him a black market clinic called Azazel, as well as a conviction. Helliger knew his friend had plotted Ursus' defeat, but Helliger would not blame him. Helliger knew that the child he trusted had instigated the entire betrayal and injured all of the infected in the clinic, but Helliger would not hate this child. He often refers to himself as a warrior. Perhaps this is because he doesn't know how to face everything Ursus has done to him. Maybe a little bit of hope is the only motivation he has to keep on living. Although these conclusions unavoidably contain some of the opinions of the individual who collected this intelligence, we still trust in her ability to organize clues. Our response to the incident depends on the decision itself, but at the very least, we may already understand the reason why the General often merely sighs at Miss Neon's improper behavior. Ooh, let me check out what Neon looks like. I like the flower in her hair. She's a nice sword. Hello, Neon. Archive File 4. Classified File. Although the General has never clearly stated his name, but I've guessed his former identity, he displayed outstanding talent in the decisive battle of the 4 Emperors. He earned a major reputation during the 10th Ursus Casimir's War. An Ursus soldier with these kinds of achievements is rare indeed. During the Blood Peak campaign, he established a glowing military record, but then vanished without a trace. There is only one high-ranking Ursus commander that meets these conditions. Oh, she's official art, but she's never appeared so far in any stories. Surprising! As for how I made this The interference, well, it's just a guess. Over several decades, Ursus has executed over 100 commanders. The few left alive can be counted on one hand. Consult a registry of names to get the answer. In the past, both Kelsey and I would have been opposed to this cooperation, but these are different times. Even Beep feels that the situation is getting quite thorny. I wonder who Beep is. Kelsey believes that after the Trinobog incident, the Ursus authorities will carry out a frantic counterattack, and that this should be handled through the Ursus-infected community. My thinking is a bit simpler. Azazel is buried so deeply that if Rhodes Island dug them out, Ursus wouldn't have much of an opinion on it. Anyway, they're not too familiar with them. The more cards we have to play, the better. And it's not about who plays their cards first. Warframe also really wants to get her hands on Azazel's technology. Just look at it as me trying to do someone a favor, alright? Beep owes you money. Oh no, how much? However, the doctor absolutely refuses to let me see Helliger's writings. Damn it. What's wrong with taking a peek? I'm not going to forget this. But what exactly is the general thinking about, or who exactly is still supporting him? Since the Blood Peak campaign, the nobility and the new politicians have been using this opportunity to eliminate military forces. Helliger has been very lucky to survive judgment. Of course, this may be the benefit of his never having participated in politics. But think about this, neither the army nor the politicians will be content with this current situation. They both have the next step planned. He'll never divulge much about Azazel. Maybe its secrets are as terrifying as his experiences. Kelsey knows that Helliger isn't Azazel's main leader. This isn't over. His experience, his country, the things he cares about will all drag him down eventually. When the time comes, it may not be up to us whether we can lend him a hand or not. Beep. Promotion record. What are you willing to lose to heal her? Everything but her. I want your dignity, sir. Everything the Ursus Empire took from us. We're going to peel off your body. I'm not sure my body has any dignity left. It does, sir. Welcome. You're now one of us. That's how they got him. Give us your body, sir. We'll put you to good use. Thanks, Helliger. Fate. I love the name of his operating record, Fate. Fatal Grand Order. Knights and Generals, Wars and Arrogance, Country and Infected. Fate. How long have we been standing here? I can't even see the core city anymore. Your wounds haven't healed yet. Get some rest. I'll take care of things here. At least you needed some dinner first. Wow. That's not what I meant, or how should I say this? You know what I mean? I'm hoping that me and the others will be back soon. Yeah. It's more of a thing to show concern for your leader. That is proof of Rhodes Island's unity. However, pushing yourself so hard is not going to accomplish anything. You can barely stand still, young man. You can stop hiding your wounds from your friend. I see right through that. Huh? You... Helliger? Helliger is right. We will need you sooner or later, but not now. We'll fight alongside one another once your wounds are healed. This must be during the Chernobog incident? Heh, please, I'm a nobody. Who am I to fight alongside the Radiant Knight? That said, Helliger, owing to the situation we're in, perhaps you should stay inside the ship. Of course. But Nina and the children are still being checked upon. I will see them as soon as that is over. In that case... Right, okay. If things take a wrong turn, I guess I'll just be in the way since I'm injured. I'll head back then. Be safe. Bye. The view here is vast and wide. We can see the Berserk City running amok from here. Fine eyes as always. As always. You and your men covered several squads and helped to infiltrate Trinobog. Though the plan I've heard from the doctor was the most fearless one. Fearlessness, bravery, and resolve may be priceless qualities, but they always lead to sacrifices in the battlefield. Fearlessness does not mean not having a plan. I never imagined you and your men to be such masterful warriors. You use the sandstorm and light as cover. Such a surprise attack is no easy feat, even for seasoned veterans. You have my admiration. I heard you're the one who returned Scout's remains to Rhodes Island.
Are the other Rhodes Islanders quite like him?
I cannot say for certain. I think each and every operator has a different kind of resolve than Scout. Even me. But all of us operators, all of us who are willing to fight for the infected, and for Rhodes Island, aren't afraid of battle.
Everyone fights for a different reason. That is why when they are permitted an ambitious, magnificent dream that matches all that they have ever wished for, they will find themselves lost in the current.
Are you talking about reunion?
All one and the same.
The operators who infiltrate the city are the most unwavering lot I've met, and they all have the most steadfast convictions. I choose to believe in those convictions. Their convictions. This is my duty as a Rhodes Island operator. Also, I must thank you for going through the trouble of bringing back Scout's comms. I'm sure Chernobog must have been in a very bad situation at the time.
Sadly, I never had the chance to meet that fine warrior. His sacrifice roused his fellow soldiers. I believe the effects of his will can still be seen around us. Yet, sacrifice is not a thing of the past. It is where before us, Rhodes Island will see yet more sacrifice, much more.
Rather than the sacrifices themselves, I think we should think more about what those sacrifices have brought us. My job is merely to stand guard here from afar and to await the fruits of justice that they are fighting for with their own blood.
I met many from Kashmir's like you, young knight, but most of them flawed. I heard from the other operators that you were known as a Radiant Knight. Your performance in the past must have indeed been truly memorable. From what I know, in present-day Kashmir's, knights who receive the title, a title of only a single word, are, without exception, among the very best of their ranks. Why did you leave your homeland, if I may ask?
What the knighthood means now in Kashmir's is very different. You two left Ursus behind. You said so yourself. Everyone fights for a different reason.
Young Radiant Knight, what is your name?
Margaret Neural. You may also call me Operator Codename Neural.
So that's why they call you Neural.
Oh, we're back to the city.
Where the hell's W? She's gone missing now, of all times. You're still counting on her. Do you remember how Garson died? You. Save it. Who knows when W and Tallulah are thinking? I mean, who knows what W and Tallulah are thinking? We mercenaries put our lives on the line for nothing but coin, no? Don't listen to those infected. They want their future, and it's got nothing to do with us. All we gotta do is kill the enemies in front of our faces, and keep following the side that wins. That's been my policy all along. But now we can't get in touch with W, and Tallulah's abandoned us. Until we get orders from either of them. Those orders, and whose orders are you supposed to follow? Tell me! What's going on? Where are these Sarkas? Oomph!
I know, right? What a trip down memory lane.
Looks like they're fighting amongst themselves. Let's take this chance and slip past. Quick. Don't let them spot us. We need to follow the plan and secure the...
Well...
You can't.
Surprise! Hey, Patriot.
I still remember the expression on Barclay's face even now. I've never seen such a complicated look on him. Not even when he fought Pegasus himself. He told me we had a new enemy, besides Silverlance, a golden one. Golden. The Golden Pegasus. A military commander that had only just come to the fore, reorganized multiple night orders that had been ambushed with only a few hours, and then defended the gorge for 3 months with nothing but infantry. Thanks to him, Ursus saw losses far greater than expected. Its armies had to allocate attack ships to break that formation, and its winter campaign had to be reduced in scale. The Neural should be revered as heroes in Kashmiraj, but now, a child that bears his blood has been exiled from the country.
Just water under the bridge. It may be vile, but you needn't worry about that, Helliger. Wheresoever I stand in this world, I take pride in my family name, Neural.
How is your grandfather?
He was already bedridden the last time I talked to my family.
Time. Time is full of surprises. War leaves behind heroes, wounds as well.
Oh gosh. Okay, so that's how Helliger sees the Nero family. I wonder how he would think of super duper overworked uncle. Like, how would he think of Uncle Muinar? And ooh, hello, hello.
Do you despise Ursus with all your heart? I've never experienced war myself, but I know that Ursus has started many tragic wars. The truth will never cease to be, and there are many Cashmeres who despise the Ursus, even today. To refute this hatred, to teach those who lost their families and their homes in war to reject hate, that is a cruel punishment in its own right.
You are a soldier, yet I am not a campaign knight.
You are still of Cashmeres.
Even now, I've never once denied that. I'm willing to raise my sword for the ideal that Amiya speaks of, and for the infected. But perhaps I will one day be back in Cashmeres.
You're young still, Radiant Knight. Yes, you are young. You yet to have the chance to correct everything, including yourself. No way, Mephisto, he... What is this, a transformation? Hey, do you still understand?
Burb. Ooh, who's the most sweetest Arknights character you know of? You show them Wizardo having a crazy expression and say, this is the most sweetest. Yeah, very Gatmoe, Swedish. Just second to Amiya when it comes to the main story. Like, truly the most wholesome.
Tell them to go! Tallulah turned her back on us. It's not possible. Pedro's the real traitor. Kill him. He's a Sorcas. He's a Wendigo. And he's an Ursus army soldier. What part of him can we even trust? Tisk, looks like it's our turn to pick sides. What do you mean? Debbie just straight up disappeared after she gave us the order to hold here. Do you think Tallulah might already have killed her? How are the other squads? Can't get to them. Maybe those infected nutjobs started their attack on Patriot. It's practically still anarchy out there for most of these folks. I mean, they aren't soldiers. This all hit way more sudden than any could have heard of. Should we regroup with Patriot Squad? Sarkas follows Sarkas. Isn't that the Iron Law? Besides, he's a Bojo Custody.
Hello, hello.
Turnobog. Its march onwards is not yet seized.
Did you live there for long?
Not very long. Unfortunately, my lifespan is a little longer than your average Ursus man. But yes, to answer your question, I lived there. Can you imagine? It was a nomadic city that hosted a theme park, department stores, and a park with a man-made lake. And now, the core city has abandoned the city blocks that were destroyed by the catastrophe. With these, it abandoned everything built by the hands of countless generations. Even the city itself has become a frightening vessel of some wicked conspiracy. Turnobog was far from beautiful, its factories polluted the skies, but scores of innocent Ursus once lived there. Did anyone consider that? Did the ones responsible for instigating this conspiracy? None of them ever did.
Anger has blinded them.
It has blinded everyone, ourselves included. What I see now as I gaze upon Turnobog now is not a city. It is a violent machine, powered by the destruction and the livelihoods of countless men, a machine driven by ambition. They abuse the people's will to live. First, they took the right to live from the infected. In the end, they even had to pry their will to live away from them.
Your clinic there.
The things that I built have been destroyed far too many times, but as long as Neon and the others are fine, then the bricks and the ruins will be the only destruction there is. Neon is fine, and Rhodes Island can provide the treatment they need. This is the only source of satisfaction I have.
You've kept them from danger well. It would have been nigh impossible to evacuate them out of Turnobog after it was devastated by reunion.
I merely wanted to keep them safe.
You cast aside your status as a military leader for that.
Yes, however, the land of Ursus chases me still. Sometimes when I lay my eyes upon Turnobog's ceaseless advance, I cannot tell whether Ursus is chasing me or leaving me behind.
You do not want to make an enemy of Ursus.
Even before its rotten body became engrossed in its endless onslaught, nothing in this world should have stood in Ursus's way. I once dedicated my life to Ursus. War is a soldier's calling, and I fulfilled the duty that I once believed in. Nonetheless, in the years since, I made it out of that swamp and gazed upon the lands I once lived in from a different perspective. Just like you, Radiant Knight. How will a Kashmirish, a Sami, and a Lungmanite view the influences our past rulers have left on this world? What do they think of Ursus's war? You said you are yet to experience war. You are young, and you yet have the right to avoid these questions. But we all know the answers deep in our hearts. There's no answer to war, and war needs not an answer. Violence cannot change anything. Right, violence. My fallen liege was a pride of Ursus, the aspiration that we once spent a lifetime chasing. In his words, all of Ursus was merely within arm's reach. But did he ever truly see the citizens of Ursus as a part of Ursus itself? Could he possibly...
Back to the city.
Patriot is dead. The Ursus spy is dead. He never believed in our cause, but Tallulah will lead all infected to victory. Let Tallulah and her foolish guards know that she cannot bend the will of all that gather here.
Hello, shield bro.
Let them roar, and let them struggle. The traitors will be trampled and crushed by the shields of the enslaved. We'll be as the mountains.
I remember that stage protecting the shield bros.
For the captain! For Patriot! Patriot, the Wendigo? Bojo Krusty?
Patriot is dead. Patriot is dead. Imagine this all happened while they're just talking.
Wait. The core city's command tower. It's burning. Amiya, This is just the beginning. Reunion's leader is no mere infected. Her strength and strategy are hardly her truest side. The colossal shadow hanging over Reunion is starting to bare its fangs. We must be careful. Should the trickery succeed, be it Rhodes Island, Lungmen, the infected, no one will be able to escape this new torrent. I can only imagine the enemy Amiya is now facing. Rhodes Island's leader. She's far younger than you. She's facing either the infected rioters, roused by Reunion, the person behind this all, or perhaps it's possible that she and her friends will face Patriot. Patriot. Say his name. He is true to it. A pure-blooded Wendigo. An Ursus army man. The leader of the infected guerrillas of the northern tundra, Bojo Krusty. He will be the last obstacle between Rhodes Island and Reunion. I heard about him during the emergency meeting. It's not often that Dr. Kelsey treats an enemy, a lone enemy, with such caution. He's worthy of her caution, for he is far more formidable an enemy than one can imagine.
Do you two know each other?
We're old army buddies, and he's a true soldier. It has nothing to do with his blood, and it has even less to do with his accomplishments and rank. He is a Wendigo, yet he is called an Ursus. Do you find that surprising?
Not at all. Our status and ideology should not be predetermined by our upbringing. This is something I've come to understand very well. You seem to think Rhodes Island hardly stands a chance in this battle.
Not exactly. Bojo Krusty could not escape the cage he drew for himself with his ideals. Because of the ideals he believed in, Rhodes Island chose to slay Tallulah to fulfill its own objective. This is rash, but it is their only way to realize some kind of compromise. But he is different. He became a symbol of the infected and the rebels, and allowed it to expand. Reunion is what it is because of him, and that is also why it has become his greatest weakness. You mean?
Back to the other side? The Chernobyl command tower reaches into an inferno. Helliger gazes at the red stained sky, not looking away for a moment. There he sees Ursus, a true city, a phantom that has seized.
Fate has driven him into his dead end. He has long been aware, but he would never give in. He will fight until the end, and he will meet his fate.
Ah, that's why this is called Fate. Aw, he was talking about his buddy. Fate, fate, fate. Ooh, he's multiples. Zoho, a sheath for contempt. Oops, I meant to click on story. Helliger took the pocket watch and blade from his friend without even a chance to ask a question. The life has already left his friend's body. I love his first reaction to just loot the body. At the time, he didn't yet know that an unprecedented great rebellion was about to ignite war across Ursus. And this lost battle, coupled with the army's disobedience, was the only rebellion's modest prelude. He could only vaguely sense that, although the storm in a teacup had already dissipated, an unusual calm still lingered. Helliger hung the scabbard on his waist and drew out the strange Higashini sword. Higashini's. He examined it for a moment, but there were no familiar characters on the blade. He placed the sword on the table, presently covered with a battlefield map. The cold and slender blade lay vertically over the tangled front line, forming a large X on the map. He opened the pocket watch to find a photo of a strange girl on the inside. She looked reticent, with only her eyes showing a liveliness and curiosity that matched her age. At that moment, a girl walked out of the shadow in the corner of the command center. Her face, figure, clothing, and even the originium crystal on her shoulder were identical to those in the photo. Only her gaze was different from the one in the photo when she looked at Helliger. There was no curiosity, no panic, and even hostility seemed thin in her eyes. He could only detect calmness in them, as if her emotional quota had been exhausted by the war. He tried to talk to her, showing her the photo in the watch, and even pointing to the sword on the table, but the girl just stared at him silently, in the same way he had stared at his friend's corpse in silence. Helliger realized that, like the sword, this was probably not the first time the girl had been entrusted to someone. She suddenly snatched up the sword, which was even taller than her. Oh, that's the blade in the photo. She held the blade and walked unsteadily towards him. The Taliberry didn't say anything. The way the girl held it didn't seem like she was preparing to strike. Of course, it was possible that there were special Higashini's ways to wield the Higashini sword, or maybe the girl was pretending to make an effort to hold the sword in a way that would keep the edge from being worn in the ground, and he was moments away from having the cold blade pressed against his throat. But Helliger didn't move. The girl's wrist trembled, and she struggled to move to his side. She raised his sword up high, with the tip pointing at the ground. He lowered his head and met the girl's gaze. She seemed to be pleading for something. He didn't know what she was asking for, but he nodded nonetheless. Whoosh! The girl inserted the sword into the scabbard at Helliger's waist. Then she spoke. Her command of the common tongue was tinged with a heavy Higashini's accent, coupled with twisty Ursine intonation. Don't drop Kudarikiri. Okay, so she has a Higashini's accent. She's from Higashi. Okay, that's fun. Hello, Neon. Oh yeah, who's the one after Helliger? Should I go left, right, and then down? Or down first? And oh gosh, I cannot read this. Whatever this module is. The samovar whistles lightly, like the snoring in the trenches at the crack of dawn. It was very many years ago. Fresh after the close of a violent battle, the supplies were spent, and Helliger was left wanting for even a drop of fresh water as his wounded men-at-arms laid by his side, stifling deep groans. He pulled a scar-riddled samovar out from his marching pack and wearily put a pot full of snow into the boil. This one samovar would accompany him for a long, long time to come. Each time Neon takes a tea break, she'll mumble about how she ought to throw it away, but of course, she's only saying it. Neon's letter lies on the table, which hurts more to an old man. A young child leaving home because they can't be bothered to communicate with you, or a grown child leaving home out of consideration for how you disapprove. Helliger has begun reflecting on whether his approach to parenting might be suspect. At first, he had no idea how to build a rapport with a taciturn child. Sure, in his mind, that there was no way for him to meaningfully raise her. Bitter war, constant upheaval, blight and suffering. He'd seen that all of these had already made their place in her eyes. The best he could hope for was to teach Neon that life was more than these. He brought more to her life, taught her an appreciation for classical music, to play the cello, to read and write. What did Neon change? after she found secretly taking part in the clinic's transport of erypathy medication. Since leaving Chernobog, she's become her own dignified spokeswoman. From settling patients to partnered pharmaceutical research between the clinic and Rhode Island, Neon held many aspects of rebuilding Azazel. Medical and clinical administration were never Helliger's strong points anyway. Neon often vanishes, only to show back up with a new headache or two for him. Perhaps this is how she always was, but suffice to say, it's how she likes it. Helliger is glad that he can still protect such a lifestyle. Hence, he regrets not properly hiding the letter. That winter, they did everything they could and had the clinic's patients, doctors, and medical resources all evacuated from Chernobog, yet the name Azazel was forsaken there, left behind. These days, new pneumatic plates sit atop the ruins, an omnipresent smog of industry and checkpoints, and the Ursus Guard, still going with the name of Chernobog. And Azazel has been rebuilt, in a sense, the Emperor's overseers tacitly letting it exist. Azazel, the name itself, something to believe in. Once, it was the rare respite to those the Empire deemed scar tissue, a safe haven in the endless nights. With no hesitation, the infected chose where it had once been to come together again. And even the infected that wandered the wilds and tundras came to, of their own accord, to Ursus. They always wear hideous scars. Had the events of 1096 been sufficient to change the Empire's attitudes towards them? The answer is laughable. In the so-called federal territory of Chernobog is no Ursus Guard, who only care to stand watch outside of it. And to Helliger, and of course to Neon, the role that the vaunted Azazel plays atop those ruins is all too clear. And the new plate, crammed full of infected, death and disappearance may be diluted to the greater chaos, but they are still taking place, right this very moment. The hot-blooded child cannot stand such a thing. She quietly comes back, brews a pot of tea for Helliger, and then takes the decapitator and leaves without a goodbye. Steam lifts the lid, and the water within boils louder and louder, slowly drowning out the sound of the samovar itself. Quiet now. Quiet as the dead winter grass. We can never hope to be an opponent to Ursus. To its traitors, the Empire bestows illusions and humiliation. We can never hope to turn our backs to the past, for it will never be erased. We can never hope to turn our backs on the past, for it binds your future tight, Helliger. He's trying his best as Daddy. And that's pretty cute. I believe in him. I like how he even tried to teach her music. Like, good for you, Helliger. But it must also mean he can play music too, right? Helliger plays a tune. The old man was surprisingly wholesome. And since he already did a lot of her stuff, deleted her files already. Wonderful Kelsey. And then her record. Okay. So operator records, end of a long journey. Why be a doctor of all things, Kelsey? Why indeed? Or why not? I hear medical stuff already. Oh, whose heart monitor's that? Subject's body temperature, oxygen saturation levels, breathing, and heart rate are all normal. The operation was a success. Good work, everyone. Yay for success. Rose Island Medical Department, September 28, 1099, 11:38 a.m. It's finally over. What a miracle, right? This might be strange for me to say, but to be honest, I never thought this operation was going to be successful at all. Persistence on a subjective level and the inability to give up are perhaps one and the same. If we consider solely the outcome, perhaps we should take solace we persisted through this ordeal. Chloe's a brave girl. She never gave up on life, and as doctors, we must never give up before the patient. Considering how high the patient's cell or gene assimilation levels are, I really can't imagine how it feels. This is all very strange, though. We've never seen such symptoms before in neuropathy, and our organs are all somewhat functional, even though most of them are already completely crystallized. if you write a paper out of this, it would draw considerable attention in the medical science community. It could be a huge breakthrough to repeat medical theory.
A breakthrough, or perhaps the disease has mutated in ways beyond our comprehension. It's hard to say which. This is worth taking a closer look into. I will head to the laboratory later to analyze.
Wait. That's gotta have broken the record for the longest procedure, hasn't it? That was, what, 73 hours? 75? Sheesh! 75? Well, this must be 1 year after the Victoria War.
79 hours and 45 minutes. Oh gosh!
Multiple days. I changed shifts twice in the last couple of days, but you never left the operating room even once. And now you want to go to the lab? Kelsey, you've been way too industrious ever since your trip to Victoria. Like, even more so than before. Is there another reason to this?
In a number of ways, yes. You were there in the meeting. You know the predicament that Rhodes Island is in right now. We only have so much time, Warfarin.
I could say the same for your stamina or sanity. No one can keep burning themselves out like this, not even you.
I know my own condition better than anyone else, and I'll take the most reasonable course of action.
I can trust you in that first part, but if your reasonable course of action involves working day in and day out without end, then I have to stop you. Your experiment won't suddenly grow legs and run away. I can help you too, but only if you actually live to see it to fruition. I'm a doctor too. You can't tell me to watch my coworker keep on endangering her life. What you are doing is a bad example for the entire medical department. So, get out of medical right now, head to the canteen for a bite to eat, and go back to your own room right now. There, you can do whatever you want. I like how she's basically like, Kelsey, you're grounded. I'm locking the lab's door. Until you get 8 hours of rest, don't let me see your face here. You go, Warfarin.
Okay.
Save it. No amount of begging will... I beg your pardon?
I will follow your advice. Thank you all for participating in this procedure. You've all earned some well-deserved rest. I too will stop my work for the time being.
Is there anything else? No. It kind of feels like you've gotten more reasonable since your trip to Victoria. How about I give you a thorough medical check?
Your time is just as valuable as mine. Let's not squander it in such meaningless pursuits.
Humph.
I'll leave the post-operative observation to you. If anything comes up, contact me immediately. Thank you for all your hard work, Warfarin.
Thank you too, Kelsey. Mia, we're really in a pretty tight spot right now. I know. Well, I need a little more time for a solution. Aw, Mia's wearing the dress. It's a thing we're always short-staffed. I wonder if there's anyone... Whoa, what the fuck? Dr. Kelsey? I like how that operator was about to cuss her out.
Amiya, you seem kind of tense.
I'm just a little surprised. I don't think I've ever seen you in the canteen, so I thought maybe you...
Naturally, I need to eat for sustenance. What about you, Amiya? Have you not had lunch yet?
Not yet. I'm helping the logistics operators to take inventory of our food supplies for the winter. Do you want anything to eat? Today's menu is carrot cake, carrot pie, and creamy golden carrot soup. Wait, I want the cake.
It sounds like there isn't much variety.
Well, about that. To tell the truth, we did run into a small issue. This is not gonna turn into a break. She's gonna be working on her break. We have more carrots than we can eat. After our last stop in Rainbowton, the mine workers that we treated there insisted on giving us carrots to show their gratitude. Lots and lots of carrots. Yes, lots of them. Amiya turns around and points at the mountain of carrots. I want the carrot soup and the carrot cake. I also want carrot juice. Carrot juice is good. There isn't much room in the kitchen and we don't have anywhere else to put the carrots. We don't want any of it to go to waste, so... All we can do is use them up as fast as we can.
Perhaps we can allocate another storage room for carrots.
Huh? Are there still empty storage rooms on board?
There's a storage used for weapons and other war essentials. It's perfect for storing logistics supplies now. Now that the war is behind us, we should spend our resources towards the betterment of our employees' lives. If you need me to, I can ask Closure to have engineering prioritize this matter. In fact, we can take the carrots that can't be stored here to the storage room right now.
We can't ask you to... No, it's okay. Just leave it to me. I'll take care of everything.
Very well. The carrots indeed look very fresh.
Huh?
This will be a particularly cold winter. Perhaps we should be thankful that we receive such nutritious food.
Yeah. I still remember how Teresa always worried about supplies every winter. Back then, being able to buy food from nearby villages was very good news. But there's nothing to worry about now. Rhode Island has a lot more operators now, and we have a lot more ways to procure food. Things don't get so bad anymore. I've never had a carrot shake. That sounds good, though.
You're right. She put in tremendous effort to make sure all the operators had enough food to make it through each winter. However, important as it may be, do not forget to take care of yourself, Amiya. Be sure to take your meals. And don't forget that you can rely on those around you whenever you need us.
Yep. Dr. Kelsey, if you have time right now, why don't we have lunch together? What would you like to eat? We don't have a lot of choices, but still.
Carrot cake.
Good choice. Okay. I love carrot cake. Maybe I'll get some tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Amiya, why did you tell her that your limitless supply of carrots is all we have left for the winter? We exhausted most of our basic supplies in Victoria, and we still haven't established a stable supply line after we got back to Militon. Dr. Kelsey's been very busy. Let's not give her any more to worry about. The weather forecast says the snowstorm will calm down a little in 3 days. We should be able to cross the valley and buy supplies to the cities to the north. The barren lands are dangerous. We should assign more field operators to the convoy. I'll chart the route. Don't worry, we'll make it through the winter. I feel like they probably trade some carrots too for other supplies. Maybe even hunt for some protein. This won't do. Then how about this proposal? I guarantee...
Closure. In the past 40 minutes, you've shown me 20 modification proposals for Rhodes Island's nighttime corridor lighting system. The significant majority of them are not remotely feasible.
Well, I'm working on the right plan. I just need a little inspiration.
We need to have a meeting over this matter. This is something you alone can decide. And you're merely wasting my time right now.
But you ended up sitting here in the convalescent garden for 40 whole minutes. How can you call that a waste of time?
Did Warfarin ask you to come find me?
Bingo. That's not the point, though. What's important is that you really need some rest. That's something that everybody with eyes can tell right away. Have you ever paid this place a real visit ever since it was fixed?
I know each and every facility aboard Rhodes Island well.
No. What I'm saying is, as a normal Rhodes Island operator, you really ought to enjoy places like this where you can relax your mind. Loosen up a bit, take a deep breath, and enjoy the feeling of being surrounded by all these living plants. I bet you haven't noticed all these weeds and whatnot that Lena has been planting here, or what they're called.
Starvalarians, first discovered by the Gallic scholar Jacques in 817. After the Battle of the Four Emperors, it was brought to Victoria. It was widely cultivated for its aesthetic and medicinal value, and is a primary ingredient in many hypnotics. Gosh darn it. I forgot you had a botanist listed in your resume. Thank you, Closure. But if you don't need me for anything important, I shall return to the medical department to write my report.
Come on, you can at least finish your tea first. Can't you at least finish your tea first? Think of this as having afternoon tea with your buddy.
Just this cup of tea, then.
Tisk, I was so stingy with your time. By the way, Kelsey, how long have we known each other?
12 years. The year was 1086, after we excavated the Rhodes Island landship. Babel needed a sufficiently skilled engineer who could be trusted. Teresa told me that there was a self-taught genius engineer in Casdo, who was rumored to have laid 1/4 of Casdo's pneumatic cities, or Originium electrical circuits, all by herself. When Babel reached out to you, you were linking the electricity of 3 districts to assemble an electric hot air balloon.
Impressive. Whoa, you remember even the year? Here I thought old people tend not to fuss about when things happen in the past.
I'm not that forgetful yet.
But in these 12 years, you haven't had tea with me even once, not once. And you call yourself a friend?
I don't remember.
Humph. Has it really only been 12 years, though? It kind of feels like it's been a lot longer than that.
A lot has happened in these 12 years.
Mind if I ask something? Just out of curiosity? Do 12 years go by in the blink of an eye to you?
It's not easy to measure sense of time with a metric. All we can do is speak in terms of relativity. 12 years is not a particularly long stretch of time. That said, everything that happened during these 12 years is irreplaceable to me.
That's what you say, but I'm still really curious. If everything around you goes by in the blink of an eye, do you think of everybody around you as insignificant? Like the plants in this greenhouse?
To the significant majority of races, vampires likewise have an unbelievably long lifespan. Do you feel that way yourself?
Well, I'm still a pretty young gal myself. Maybe I'll feel differently once I'm, God forbid, as old as Warfarin. Girl! Whew, that is mean. But wow, just wow. I feel like they would even need to ask Kelsey what she does in her spare time. She just works. She's a workaholic.
I do not proclaim to be a gardener over all the other lives that live upon Terra. Never have I, and never will I. This has nothing to do with how long I've lived.
Even though you talk like a grumpy old gardener every time you're worried about something? Maybe we should talk about something else. Say, when you dug Rose Island out of the ground, did you think about what it was going to become?
I did. That said, what it has become is nothing like what I imagined.
See, predictions for the future can be wrong too? No offense, just blur that out.
I've made many mistakes, Closure. No one can completely take control of her own future. Not even a Cyclops' Originium Arts can see all of time's possibilities. Time is like a river. On this drifting boat, we have no way to control the flow of water or the wind, and we cannot see the reefs and water currents beneath us. Most of the time, all we can do is hoist the sails. That alone is an exhausting enough ordeal.
Yeah, I never proclaimed to be a guardian of Terra, but you sure act like one. Isn't that exactly the issue, though? If we go by your analogy, you just keep holding tight onto the sails for dear life, not even wanting to let go for a second. How could a person stay so tense for so long? If you work yourself so hard, those ropes are gonna snap. Hello.
I agree with your viewpoint. Rhode Island will undoubtedly face many more challenges in the future. Both me and the doctor should shoulder heavy responsibilities, and we need someone to share their burden in a different way. Closure, this is something that only you can do.
You're still worried about others. Too much on your mind, and you're about to forget what's actually in front of you right at this moment. For example, I bet you didn't notice what was in the cup of tea while you were rambling on and on. Oh?
What's in this tea?
Don't worry, it's just a herbal tea that Lena formulated. Really calms your mind, especially so for someone who hasn't had any shut-eye for 3 days straight. Nap time. Humph. Finally got this old hag to get some rest. Old hag? Sleep well in the garden, Kelsey. Good night, Kelsey. I thought my medical checkup isn't for a couple of days yet.
Indeed it is, but I personally need to fully grasp your condition.
She's dreaming about work.
The environment of the battlefield is particularly harsh to you. I believe your health condition requires close attention. The tools I have on hand are more than enough for me to carry out this examination. No complaints, doctor. They will save us both a lot of time.
I heard Warfarin kicked you out of medical. She just wants you to get the rest you need.
Owing to certain external factors, I've chosen to halt my work at the medical department today. However, that does not mean I will waste my time. Warfarin's concerns are entirely unnecessary. You should have a decent grasp of her personality already. A lot of times, she's actually not as nonsensical as she appears on the surface. She works with the mindset of a responsible doctor, albeit an overly cautious one as a result.
But the fact is that you have others worried. Yeah, the others worried. A doctor needs to take care of herself too. You hope to reach a level where you can be productive a straight 32 hours. Like, power naps are good. They're very, very good.
You needn't worry about me. I have sufficient knowledge and techniques to handle my own problems. I will not allow myself to collapse when I am needed. I'm not as weak as you think I am. To the contrary, your body requires more attention. I see that a few of your body indices are somewhat unstable. Work-life balance, perhaps?
I've been working on some more Jannie-related research. I won't take on some more of your burden. Let me help you.
Have you made progress? Or have you perhaps run into a bottleneck?
Perhaps I'll have a surprise for you soon. Not being able to remember the knowledge I had before irritates me. Brain not braining.
You need not be impatient, although I'm just as anxious to see the fruits of your labor bring a turning point to our predicament. But that is not something that can be rushed. Your past experiences have proven that you can regain your past knowledge bit by bit through effort. What we need is patience and time. You're putting in the effort toward this endeavor, and the meaning behind it has far exceeded its outcome. In any case, I hope that you can maintain a healthy and manageable condition. Rose Island will need you even more going forward.
I'm doing my best to work out and get ripped. I like that. I'm doing my best to work out and get ripped. So, what's your medical advice for me? I'm doing my best. I'm exercising, excuse you.
Control your work-life balance. It'll be beneficial to your immune system. Although, I know that is very difficult for you.
Same for you, Kelsey. Where knows is Kelsey's record?
Now do what you need. In addition to monitoring your body's condition, I'll take full responsibility of your health and safety.
Oh gosh, exercise. Does having a patient like me give you a headache? I'm very fortunate to have a doctor like you.
There's no need to thank a person merely because she carries out her duty. I'll never go against my promise, especially when I now have even more reasons to continue to defend everything. At the very least, you can trust me when it comes to your safety.
Kelsey, I have a question. Why did you choose to become a doctor?
Uropathy is not the crux of all the land's problems, but it is undoubtedly the most direct source of the hardships and sufferings that countless lives face. It seems you don't need a special reason to choose to treat uropathy.
Before you became a doctor, you had other responsibilities, didn't you? Before you became Kelsey of Rhodes Island, you probably had another identity too. You had other responsibilities, didn't you?
This is not a pervading responsibility. Instead, it's one of the many methods that I've attempted to fulfill my one and only mission. And I only realized later, but this is also one of the countless ways that I understand this world. I learned not to scrutinize everything in these lands purely purposefully, and because of this, I realized that these lands need to be cured of far more than just violence. With respect to violence, a cure would be difficult and complicated. As such, a method could only be predicted upon trust. This is a method I'd never once attempted in the past, and anxious though I was, I nonetheless had to stop thinking before attempting to find the answer. And it was as if someone had told me, even if it ended up taking a lot of time.
Was it a very long amount of time? And I know, right? Maid, a high noble woman, a rogue bandit, etc., etc.
It was probably much longer than who you are now could ever imagine. The metric of time is relative. The 200 years I spent as a doctor seem particularly long because of everything that I lost. Now I see possibilities I've never before seen, and I have things that I never once possessed.
The current Rhodes Island, the friends we have now, the opportunity we have, the friends we have now.
Certainly. They offered the criteria, but there's far more. I persisted and made it to this point because of my original mission, and what I gained has far exceeded what I once could comprehend.
For merely a mission? That has to be an important mission. That has to be a difficult mission. That has to be a mission you can't ever give up on. That has to be an important mission.
Correct. I may not be able to thoroughly explain to you its meaning, but one thing I am certain of is that the reason why the individual Kelsey stands here now. As such, no matter the reason, giving up has never been an option. I'm grateful to the person who gave me that mission.
I'm happy you're willing to tell me all that. I never thought I'd get the chance to have a chat with you like this. Is this part of the medical checkup too? Is it?
At the very least, it's predicated on trust.
I guess this will be a long day. Are you smiling?
A long day.
Kelsey, workaholic, you weren't even sleeping. She probably closed her eyes for like 5 minutes and then got up and then went to us. Kelsey, Kelsey, Kelsey. Okay, it's gonna be fun for... Monster. I wish I could have summoned Monster. She's been avoiding me still. Someday for Monster. And Monster's so pretty. File, basic info. Yeah, it's kind of surprising to see her here. Though I recently got her in the story, or at least the part that I was at, so... It makes sense to... be able to take her around. Though now I'm wondering what's gonna happen to her in the next chapter. Basic info, coding Monster, gender female, combat experience undisclosed. Place of birth, Rhode Island, date of birth, July 25th. Oh, okay, that's her birthday. Race undisclosed, height 158 centimeters, infection status, medical tests have confirmed that no infection is present. Physical exam, physical strength, beep. Mobility outstanding, physical resilience, beep. Tactical acumen standard, combat skill outstanding. Originium assimilation flawed. Profile, Monster is profoundly knowledgeable in life sciences, earthy treatment, history and genealogy, and many other fields. She also possesses plentiful experience in mobile combat maneuvers, and offers much needed assistance during Rhode Island's rebuilding. Currently serves as a special consultant for the medical, engineering, and field operations departments. Maybe she wouldn't even recognize Monster like this. So you are familiar, but oh no, it's you, Monster. That Monster. Clinical analysis. Imaging tests reveal clear normal outlines of internal organs, and no abnormal shadows have been detected. Originium granules have not been detected in the circulatory system, and there is no sign of infection. At this time, this operator is believed to be uninfected. Cell originium assimilation, 0%. Operator Monster shows no signs of originium infection. Blood originium crystal density, 0. She is no longer steadfast, incisive, or relentless, nor the bearer of certain extreme traits. A reminder that our recent loss is all too real. Monster's vital signs are extremely unstable. This is not to say her new body is diseased, but rather, she is currently in a state of accelerated catalysis and morphosis. In simpler terms, this new body of hers is not yet truly complete. Thankfully, unlike Kelsey, who was never accused to a physical examination, Monster is more than happy to cooperate with medical. Good job, Monster. Perhaps even too enthusiastic at times. We will continue monitoring her situation. Archive File 1, Dr. Kelsey has left us, and another wearing similar clothes is now at our side, helping to rebuild Rhode Island. This leaves many feeling somewhat bewildered. We often heard such mutterings as HQ was being rebuilt, the earliest of which even came from medical itself. According to the medic operators, Monster showed up to the very first meeting held after medical was rebuilt. She stood in the corner of the room, not saying a word, electing to quietly listen to Dr. Warfarin's speech. Eventually, she was noticed. At first, Dr. Warfare was clearly at a loss for words, but she quickly started raising her voice, drawing everyone's eyes back to her. I know she wants to come along. She feels like she should be there. You must have noticed, Amiya. Kelsey's stethoscope hanging around her neck. Although she got it upside down. Aw, she's trying. I don't think she's trying to copy Dr. Kelsey, nor does she hope to be her equal. She's inherited all her memories, but at the same time, she's trying to process all that pain. She needs a lot more time, just like the rest of us. I decided to officially hire Operator Monster as medical special consultant. This decision was made after the assessment of her professional ability in basic medicine, life sciences, clinical medicine, first aid, and other such fields. Her performance during this period has also been taken into account, having helped provide aid to the wounded of her own accord and assisting in surgery, using 2 talents to secure the wounded while the other 2 to distract them. Kelsey never did anything like that before. Monster's methods are interesting. This has been decided by a show of hands from all members of medical. Warfarin, your hands are too soft, Monster. Rosmontes. See you at the training room today, Monster. We're not leaving until we're all tired out, Blaze. She's become Blaze's ideal sparring partner. And not long after she started participating in stool racing and nut-cracking racing, she got 2nd place in both of them. Good for you, Monster. Stool racing and nut-cracking racing. Like, holy cow. I feel like Wizard will probably have fun with Monster, because Monster seems to be a lot more emotional and she has fun. She knows how to have fun. Like, look, she does stool racing and nut-cracking racing. She is Monster, our new comrade in arms, Stormeye. Archive File 2, Training Room Recording. Wait, I didn't get a good look. How did you manage to block my chainsaw? I thought it'd be a sure thing, imploding the air to force you back. No way to be prepared for it. It was my talons. You're harder to get a solid hit on than ever. Speaking of, I was wondering, can you still do that thing with your mouth? Sound of the violent shockwave blast. What the beep? With Operator Blaze's enthusiastic assistance, Monster has gotten accustomed to her current body in a short period of time, and has mastered several usual combat techniques. She makes full use of the metallic constructs that float in front of her. The pair of large and small constructs are able to decompress air into the... the pair of large and small constructs are able to decompress into a pair of upper talons and lower talons, respectively. The decompression process is near instantaneous, and the shape can be freely changed to suit the current needs. For example, they can be split into fragments and adhere into someone else, or act as an arts unit and help her render emergency treatment. The current Monster does not possess the same formidable resilience she had while at Kelsey's side, but there's no doubt that her highly flexible nature in the battlefield is not something to be overlooked, whether she be threatening an enemy or aiding an ally. As a new operator who has not been with Rhodes Island for very long, official procedure, gotta follow it. She's been very active, participating in over a dozen field missions. Dang, good for you, Monster. She's proven herself a great help to us. Classified log. I've ordered medical to set up a group dedicated to monitoring Monster's condition. We need to keep an eye on it. She accompanied Dr. Kelsey for an incredibly long time. The end of the Gemini cycle system means a painful rebirth, one full of unknowns. She hasn't been awake for long enough. Monster's current appearance is merely her initial form as an independent construct. In other words, her countenance and capabilities are currently in a state of continuous flux. This process is filled with uncontrollable elements. It must be guided. Ever since we experienced the grave incident, there have been more and more disturbing developments appearing across the land. The situation is deteriorating, and that deterioration is accelerating. Rose Island has no time to rest. I worry that our reliance on Monster will outstrip the speed at which she is adapting to these changes. But no matter what, we will stand with her and meet those changes together. Archive File 3, Classified Log. According to our intelligence, there's been a surge in academic exchanges between the spires of Schwillingstern lately. There's no doubt that the Golden Empress is trying to analyze the secrets plucked out from amidst the chaos. The hole in the star pod is still open, and the Colombian government is increasingly engrossed in the levitation research. The nations of the core love new opportunities, and they must understand that these opportunities indicate a brewing crisis that will affect us all, not the start of another round of disputes. We should offer Vina more support. She's able to do a lot more now, but Rhodes Island should refrain from official collaboration with Parliament. Just know these words down for now, Monster. The Doctor and Amiya will let you know what they mean. Laterano's law has been on guard for a very long time now. The Holy City's futile call for peace across Terra is, in essence, a wave of saving itself. We still do not know exactly what sort of disaster the law has foreseen, but I fear that not so far in the future, all the past calamities we have seen will be but a shadow of this new one. If there's an opportunity, try to contact the law, but by no means regard it as a peer. It still retains the ability that caused endless dispute in the past. It is still able to cause irreversible influence on one's personality with ease. Oh gosh, that last event. But when the time is right, do not hesitate to access its system. The babies. I'm glad that Clementia and Gladia listened to my proposal. The land patrol is a good starting point. For the time being, Ager is willing to work on dry land via more neutral powers. Ager boasts of being the successor of prehistoric civilization, is the closest to the most foundational of legacies, yet also closest to where the sea currents are cut off. I know, right? So much has to manage. If the one I least want to see shows herself, she will not overlook its existence. She will not come to them as equals of humanity, nor will she, as the philosophers of Ager expect, reveal a million truths to them in endless communion. Even arrogant Ager must learn how to confront a creator. We must deepen our bond with them and seek out more possibilities from the ruins, perhaps even from the seaborne. Raise the priority level of founding an office in Ager. The 2 consoles are a good place to start. But remember, Monster, when in contact with Ager, keep the Doctor well guarded. War comes. It will not be one limited to her and us. It is one that affects all of Terra and everyone on it. Office recording. Kelsey recorded this information bit by bit in my spinal cord. She probably already had an idea of how things would end and made her final decision. Before her life faded away, she tried to leave behind as much guidance as she could for Rhodes Island. You've already told the Doctor and me all this, Monster. You don't need to sit there repeating it over and over, like you're just reciting lines. No, I need to understand it for myself too. Archive File 4. Time data TT197-1909. Admin, Oracle, PRTS. Project codename Alma-10. A mechanical lifeform that uses the Gemini cycle system as its core. This lifeform is characterized by an impressive ability to learn and a near indestructible structure, one that can adapt to all sorts of extreme environments. Furthermore, in theory, it will not be recognized as life by beep. In the original plan, this model of mechanical lifeform would have been mass-produced by the millions, helping humanity terraform planets and rebuild new homes for us. In the millions? Sheesh! I've only seen the first season of Free Ren so far. At the time, this is not a particularly vital project. It would not have foresaw the oncoming calamity, nor would it have served as the arc of civilization, like DWDB-221E. It was more of an investment by its creators. When they were discussing Alma-10, they decided that it should be designed to survive as a way to ensure that in the future, life will still persist. If that is to be considered the moment I was born, then the ship named Rhodes Island should be considered my birthplace. At the time, she still sailed among the stars, the 2 administrators aboard her cautiously watching the undulations of the dark tides as they debated concepts for the future. But the tide fell on them faster than anybody imagined. And the Alma-10 project could not wait for the day mass production of mechanical life was feasible. And so, I was special and alone. Once the administrators went into hibernation, I received no further signs of life. But before the true end comes to pass, I will still have some duties I must see through. Ooh. Yeah, I can see Frieren being like Kelsey in that case. Or Kelsey being like her. Like, oh no. My gosh darn it. Time data TT. Mystery, mystery, mystery. Admin. Alma 10. The administrator known as Oracle has been awakened from hibernation, and I find myself accompanying Oracle alongside the investigation of this land known as Terra. However, this is not an appropriate time for it. None of our projects have progressed as we expected. Oracle should be aware of all this. From this perspective, this awakening was not a rational action. At journey's end, Oracle issued one last command to me. Find yourself. This command was not especially difficult to parse. What finding yourself means is known to both philosophers and logicians. But I sense a strong undercurrent of frustration in Oracle's words. Perhaps Oracle still had other matters for me to do? Seek out traces of life, protect the spark of civilization. These actions may be of equal value to the hope Oracle advocated for during debates. Still, in contrast to the final instruction, there are somewhat more complicated issues. With these doubts in my mind, I begin my own journey. Time data 899-0301. Admin. Kelsey, monster. This is the second death Kelsey has experienced. The civilizations of this land are advancing, and the enemies we face are becoming more difficult to handle by the day. Not every step of Kelsey's plan can go smoothly. Her defeats are not unexpected. Yet, I've never seen her put her full trust in anyone before, let alone a sarcastic woman who was once an enemy. But as her mastery of DWDB 221E shows, she is a Terran with more wisdom than most. Maybe this is why Kelsey likes her. The only thing I don't understand is why she gave up her former strength, why she chose a body like an ordinary Terran. She had begun to copy the appearance of the humans of Terra a very long time ago. Imitation is a biological instinct, and the starting point for wisdom, but to Kelsey, this copying must have had another meaning. This is not entirely a bad thing, however. We have a clear division of labor between us. Sometimes her conversational skills can get us out of trouble. Sure, but I think using my strengths is the simpler option. I will protect her. Oh, Kelsey with her monologues. Time data 1101-0903. Admin, monster. I ran to the doctor and me again. It's strange talking to them in words, especially when talking to the doctor. My subconscious always treats it as some sort of reunion after 10,000 years of waiting, and I believe myself having to suppress this inappropriate joy. I believe the past me has always been able to communicate with the two quite clearly, but only now, in its current form, is the connection between us truly close. We've become the same kind. It seems I now understand the choice Kelsey once made. I've been reorganizing this 10 millennia of data. It feels like it all happened only yesterday, and they also feel like ancient, faraway stories. They're the foundation of my logic and personality rely on, and the treasures I share with Kelsey. Protect the Dr. Namiya. I'll follow this order to the last. But not only because I was commanded to. It is also my wish, perhaps. This will be a new beginning. I must find myself once more. Promotion record. Entering underlying linked data region. Executing data integrity check. Timestamp verified. Authorization verified. Entering Dandelion. Accessing work log. Beginning recording. Just last month, I heard of Fairmont's dragged mounts. Just last month, I heard of Fairmont's dragged mountains and rivers atop their bodies to the whirlpool near the Black Flow. What must be sign of these memoranda pertaining to abnormal tides has been signed. To no surprise. After all, as things stand, even the most opinionated of the core nations must sit at the same table. I know, right? I heard of Fairmont's. In short, everything is going smoothly. though the bags under Mia's and the doctor's eyes are not particularly pleasant to look at. The sea ship contains genetic samples of more than 134,700 native Terran species and their associated breeding platform, as well as compatible databases, backups, expert systems able to answer all possible contingencies, little handies, vast amounts of equipment. The sea ship is ready and will soon join with the main hold. Our top priority is to find the runaway objective, to try and intervene in its path and allow it to be recaptured by Terra's gravitational field, but the sea ship is a brief intermission, an unspoken acknowledgement of the joint project group. We will bid it farewell once it leaves the star pod, hurtling away into the distance. Perhaps it will fade away in an instant, or perhaps it will sail the stellar sea for eternity, or perhaps it will be seized by some star system's gravity, and these dandelions will be scattered across new ground. Of course, we cannot forget the movies of Rankwood, the music of Linthanian, the sociological research, sculptures, and literature of Ager. Many, many things worth preserving. Perhaps once these seeds have been baptized by the ravages of time, people discover by happenstance that the ship is a book, with said seeds tracked between its pages. The transportation technology Terra has access to has its limits, so this was, in truth, a compromise, but who knows? It may turn out to be a pleasant surprise. Most likely, Project Dandelion will be meaningless, just as their every past attempt has turned out. But we cannot give up on looking for a possibility, a chance, a miracle, like the birth of civilization on Terra. Work log, archival complete, recording confirmed. Turns out, Kelsey, when people's heads are full of serious stuff, their tone of voice starts getting all weird. I'm understanding you a lot more as the days go by. So many seeds and so many other stuff. I wonder how big the Dandelion project is, like sheesh. Hopefully it's not all gonna be waste, cause that's sad. Monster's adorable. I did not expect her to become besties with Blaze. Like, Blaze is a fine influence on her, right? Stool racing, nut cracking. Monster. Oh, Monster. She's adorable. I like her. Very, very wholesome. Precious baby. Feels similar to Moon was preserving her species, in a way. Pretty much. I like how she has a bunch of hyenas. Crown Slayer. File. Basic info. Codename Crown Slayer. Gender female. Combat experience 7 years. Place of birth Ursus. Date of birth July 22nd. Ooh, July 22nd birthday. Race. Reproba. Height 161 centimeters. Infection status. Originium crystals distributed across surface of the body. Confirmed infected by medical examination. Physical exam. Physical strength standard. Mobility outstanding. Physical resilience standard. Tactical acumen standard. Combat skill excellent. Originium arts assimilation excellent. Profile. Ludmila Ilyinichna is a former reunion squad leader who dealt in covert operations and assassinations, specializing in melee combat and breaking through defensive lines. She parted with Reunion in the wake of the Chernobog Lungman incident and approached Rhodes Island at the end of 1100. She is currently receiving repathy treatment while under supervision. Clinical analysis. Imaging tests show the indistinct outlines of internal organs, obscured by abnormal shadows. Originium granules detected in the circulatory system. The subject is confirmed to be infected with uropathy. You recall she went to Rhodes Island after the event of Nova Volsini? With Red on toe. Cell originium assimilation. 18%. Crown Slayer has suffered from uropathy for a very long time, with distinct crystallization in her upper respiratory tract. Many of her organs are heavily infected. Ooh, hello, hello. Yo, that game looks fun. The new game looks fun. The prequel to Yakuza. I want to play it when it comes out. I'm happy it's gonna be on Steam. Like, I want it. Heck, I gotta still play more Yakuza games. They've just been sitting in my Steam library. But that one's a prequel, so I can go do that one anytime I want. Also, the music is good. I want them to release the full song already. Like, gosh darn it. What a tease. More, please. Still regime of simulation, 18%. Crown Slayer suffered from rubophy for a very long time, with distinct crystallization in her upper respiratory tract. Many of her organs are heavily infected, and the organs between her oral cavity and throat also display hyperplasia. She reports no foreign body sensation and staunchly refuses our suggestion of surgery. Ooh, that sounds painful. Blood originium crystal density, 0.45. Crown Slayer has not received any systematic oropathy treatment. Her BLCD is rather high and seems to be trending upwards. Her organ crystallization accelerates rapidly whenever she uses her arts, worsening her condition. Medical has already given her a proposal on how we can keep her condition under control. Archive File 1. Crown Slayer's arrival at Rhodes Island has left a deep impression on us. She suddenly appeared in front of the landship on its course, with Operator Project Red held hostage by her side. Before the ship's defensive alarms even sounded, Sleep had already secured Red and subdued Crown Slayer. We were quick to notice the changes in Project Red. She was unarmed, but had a blank look on her face, as though she had sunk into some sort of delirium. Our medical operators hurried to give her a comprehensive examination and confirmed that this was the result of drastic emotional fluctuation. From her fragmented replies, we pieced together that something happened during a personal visit to Syracuse, and we determined that her odd behavior had nothing to do with Crown Slayer, who had even helped her during a suicide attempt. During the course of her examination, the subdued Crown Slayer was shouting Dr. Kelsey's name and things such as, "Come and take care of your wolf cub already," along with the unending tirade in both Ursine and Syracusan. As Dr. Kelsey was not on the ship at the time, we temporarily locked her in a cell under strict supervision while we sent an urgent communique to Dr. Kelsey asking how we should handle her. A few months later, we received her reply. A few months later, oh gosh. Sheesh. I know, it's such a warm welcome. Surprisingly, she suggested that we lift Crown Slayer's confinement and allow her some measure of monetary freedom. Oh yeah, the game seems like it's gonna be fun. Like, I like how it went between Japanese and English. The trailer was good. It was very, very good. It looks so pretty. Man, the poor Crown Slayer. Months of confinement. And allow her some measure of monetary freedom, including but not limited to access in the low security areas of the ship, and the right to participate in Rhodes Island missions. This is how a former reunion member came aboard Rhodes Island using undisclosed means and became, in a sense, one of our members. The following is only for staff with high clearance. In light of Crown Slayer's identity as a former member of Reunion, she is to be placed under observation by both Sweep and the HR department. This is to prevent her from doing anything unnecessary, but also to ensure her personal safety. I know, right? Auto plays Auto, just like Snoop plays Snoop. The crossover I never expected. Though the conflict between Rhodes Island and Reunion is long over, many of our people still feel the pain of losing our comrades. Even if she does not have their blood in her hands, anger cannot be controlled once it boils over. We'll keep her under surveillance until she truly becomes one of us. We've entrusted Operator Mudrock with this task. You go, Mudrock! Considering their shared backgrounds as former Reunion members, this will hopefully help us better evaluate how Crown Slayer is doing aboard Rhodes Island. Mudrock, make Crown Slayer help out with the farm. Archive File 2. I just spotted Mudrock with Crown Slayer, yes. I know she's our informant. Let me finish. And she was standing right next to Crown Slayer, nodding along to everything she said. I bet she was butt off. Man, this is becoming a headache. Damn it. They run into the kitchen. I'll follow them. You get some backup. Wow, just wow. Knives? Wait, masks? Didn't those thugs use those internal bug and lungmen? Do they have an inside man in logistics? That's real sly of them, hiding weapons in the cafeteria. Are they about to raise reunion's flag again? Aboard the roads? Aboard roads? No way. They close the kitchen doors and pull down the curtains. I can't get a read on the inside. This is an emergency. No time to report to the higher-ups, and no time to look for a floor plan. Go ahead and first and keep things under control. Those thugs are having a culinary club meeting around the table. Some are busy by the stoves and ovens. There's a redhead kneading some dough who noticed me real quick. She stopped her kneading and cut me a slice of pizza, fresh out of the oven. Even though I'm holding a weapon, I think she knows me, but I'm pretty sure I've never seen her before. Don't even recognize Crown Slayer, huh? But pizza, fresh pizza, yummy. Delicious. Do that. It's like, what? Graduating? It's like, how could you? How could you graduate? You need to do it with like the white background with the black text. Extra legit. Make it extra dramatic. Oh, that'd be so funny. Okay, I'm gonna do that like later on tonight. I'm gonna be like, so I heard you were graduating? Like, why did you tell? Like, why did you make your announcement already? Ooh, just when a Crown Slayer join reunion, especially since... Did she join when Tallulah still had control of her mind, or did she join when the Black Snakery took control of Tallulah? Oh yeah, it could be weird again, seeing them have a reunion. Oh no. They'll maybe be fine. Gosh darn, though, pizza. The operators behind me stowed their weapons, and they all got a slice too. It was good pizza. Instead of the usual sausage, it's got Ursa-style salted meat. Then it's right out of the oven, the heat's just right, and the bread's got just the right amount of chew. I gobbled up my slice real quick. The redhead lady has been all over the kitchen, kneading, chopping the meat, pouring the sauce, keeping an eye on the pizzas in the oven, and occasionally dealing with people trying to rush her. She seems really into it. People are calling her Ludmilla. Kind of a pretty name. Ludmilla. Wait, Ludmilla? I like how, like, what a nice redhead lady giving me food. And her name is so pretty. Wait a second. It's her! Excerpts from a monitor's real-time voice logs. I asked Ludmilla why she was staying aboard Rhodes Island, and she told me that she was waiting for that hag, Dr. Kelsey, to come back. Her words, not mine. She wanted to ask her if she knew about her master when she was sent to live with her uncle. If she knew about the Wolfpack's game. If she did, why didn't she do anything about it? If she didn't, and things were always out of her control, then why did she always act so sure of herself? In short, she's ready to give Dr. Kelsey a verbal beatdown in front of everyone. Look past her sharp tongue for a moment. Ludmilla wants answers out of Dr. Kelsey, but she's gotten used to waiting here. I've seen her buying magazines from the store, killing time in the convalescent garden, doodling on the bridge with charcoal. Maybe life here is a rare chance for her to relax. It's not hard to understand. When I first got here, people were saying a reunion hammer wielder had infiltrated the landship. But all I was thinking about was that I finally had a place I could, go for a light stroll. Except from a recorded conversation between HR and Mudrock. Aw, it's cute. Ludmilla left the reunion banner with 9 as a new leader when they're parting ways in Chernobog. So she'd be really confused about current Tallulah. Archive File 3. Field Mission Voice Log Number 3. In a few hours, I'll be meeting with the operators from the Trist branch to help them complete negotiations with the local family. The nomadic city out at the edge of the Barrens could be faintly seen in the distance. This was the third time Ludmilla was going to Syracuse. The first was when she was was still 7, Kelsey had entrusted someone to take her there, to her uncle. It seems even the all-knowing Kelsey can still be blindsided by unexpected factors, no matter how well thought out her choices are. The second was when she split from a union. Interesting, though. 7, and Kelsey entrusted someone to take her there, to her uncle. How long did you know Kelsey for? It seems even the all-knowing Kelsey can still be blindsided by unexpected factors, no matter how well thought out her choices are. The second was when she split from a union, leading a band of brothers and sisters who didn't want to follow 9 to Victoria. Over the course of 2 years, Ludmilla saw them back to their hometowns, one by one. Oh, how nice of her. For those with no home to go back to, she found them work. Finally, she walked back to her master's house in Syracuse, as though it were all one big farewell ceremony. But what came after was hardly an ending deserving of such ceremony. Reunion, the Truckers' Union, Ursus, Syracuse. None of them were places associated with pleasant memories to her, but when the field operators department was discussing who to entrust this mission to, there were eyes that fell on her. She doesn't know why she didn't refuse. Field Mission Voice Log 05. This would be easy to settle if you just took out a few familia dons. Problem solved. Fine, I know that's how you do things. The negotiating operator was murdered in broad daylight, and so the cooperation between Rhodes Island and one of the local familiae was all for naught. The other familiae were very satisfied with the state of affairs, and their lines of convenience broke down back to their usual territorial selves. About a week later, the cancelled press conference went ahead as scheduled, to the surprise of many. The dead negotiating operator was on TV, declaring that Rhodes Island had managed to reach an agreement with their partner familia, and that the supplies included in the deal had already been transferred. Only now did the other familiae realize this is all a trick, and that they had been scammed. If they're out for blood, they would just have to do it ourselves before they get a chance. A killer without a target's not going to swing their knives around for no reason. Here, I'll show you, see? If I stab you with this collapsible knife, then the fake blood will... Ow! Got some got on my eye. Give me a sec. The bathroom's that way, yeah? So clumsy. Will the researchers that study the sarcophagus in Ursus? Lumilla's parents are Kelsey's students under her researching the sarcophagus? Oh! Oh, dang! Auntie Kelsey? Field Mission Voice Log Number 9. I've run into a personal matter I gotta deal with. A truck driver on the streets of Trieste had noticed Ludmilla and called out to her, trying to drag her back to Nova Volsini with him. He yammered on in excitement about how the drivers didn't want to move camp and how City Hall was preparing to build the resettlement area in their camp. Irina brought Sommer's daughter to the new city too. Her condition is stable and she's about to go to school. The chance reunion only ended after he forced Ludmilla into drinking 3 cans of salt soda. Yum. She couldn't deny her own happiness right then. There's no doubt that Irene, as head of the union, was able to grasp something during Carnival that could change her fate, change countless people's fates. The changes in her were clear, but the truckers' union never deviated from its original goal, to give the drivers better lives. She had a sudden recollection of the day she joined Reunion. Oh, I guess we're gonna figure that out, but when she joined Reunion, that's cool. The infected were kicking about some nobles in the snow, gabbing around the bonfires while eating meat and potato stew. Even dreaming about how one day they would demand an explanation from the Emperor himself and let everyone on this great land breathe freely for once. The truckers' union couldn't hold a candle to Reunion, but to her, they really were more like than not. They both appeared along her path to vengeance, and thanks to some bitter experiences and some rather absurd changes, she chose to leave them both. It seems she's managed to make one big loop in life before learning something about herself. She is somewhat easily waylaid by hate. She should keep an eye on the one in the lead, while not completely denying the fact that her past comrades had, for a time, given her a reason to live, given her faith and flame. Field Mission Voice Log 11. Mission complete. Heading back to Landship soon. Yeah, that makes sense why she has a vendetta against Kelsey about her parents' death. Like, ew. Archive File 4. To the most esteemed Director Kelsey. Sergei hasn't showed up for several days now, and I cannot confirm if he has been arrested or not. For the sake of the Institute's safety, we must be prepared. Our government contacts have begun their work, and I pray that they will have good news for us. At the same time, we must send away our families, seal off the sarcophagus, copy or destroy data. There's simply too much to do, and I may not have time to see Luda. If you do see her, please give her a kiss on the cheek for me. I don't think she would accept that. Ever since Sofina passed away, Luda's hate for Chernobog has grown day by day. Staying here will only cause her to suffer more. As her closest family, I should be with her right now, but I'm a selfish man. Our progress at the Institute has reached a rate where I do not wish to take even a single day off to go home, slice some bread, and make breakfast for her. I truly wish I was the type of person who could give up everything in the name of science. But I love my little Luda so. It torments me, and makes me tarry when I should be sending her off somewhere more suited for her. But now, Ursus has made my decision for me. No matter if we survive this oncoming calamity or not, Director Kelsey, I ask you send Luda to Syracuse. Sofina's elder brother has an estate in a small town there, and when she was still alive, he once offered us shelter. I believe having Luda live there for a while is the most suitable choice. She can complete her studies in a foreign land, owe herself to the arts and sciences, become the sort of person she wants to be, a navigator who charts the course of scientific research, or a politician striving for the well-being of all. I hope you can leave the city without any trouble, and that our research will see fruition soon, realizing both our plans and yours. Yours, Ilya. Imagine though if Kelsey did go up to her and gave her like a kiss on the cheek now. I wonder how upset she would be. It's like, no, your dad asked me to do this. See, look, your papa's will says to kiss you on the cheek. Do you think Operator Folinik has a similar circumstances as Lumela? Folinik's parents were students of Kelsey. Might even be co-workers, with the difference that she took Folinik under her care while Ludmilla was leaving her to someone else's care. Though at least the mentor seemed fine. See what happened to the mentor in the end. As the surveillance team rushed over to the landship's middle layer to turn off the alarm, Crown Slayer slipped out of Dr. Kelsey's office. She held in her hand the letter as she waited for the team to come and subdue her. It was just like the first time she stepped aboard Rhodes Island, except she was calmer this time around. It's obvious that I'm not going to be a navigator, politician anymore, Papa. So she did read the letter. Tell Kelsey that when she gets back to the landship, I need to be the first to see her. She needs to tell me all the reasons why that research institute was set up, about the research itself, everything about her own history. All of Ursus's secrets. All of them. Promotion record. A Sargonian dancer whirls lithely, her white skirts brushing past the Padishah's face. A deadly tail spike falling soon after. Boulevard's victory drinks a toast from a glass handed to him by a paro waiter, and soon dies amidst a lavish feast. Victoria's tyrant closes his eyes as his servant girl strangles him in his bed. Call soldiers turn their artillery on the Emperor's carriage and blast it to pieces. In the story she just finished reading, a Yanese chef grabs a fintail fresh off the stove and thrusts a dagger hidden within into some prince's throat. Fin flesh and bone included. Ludmilla closes the book and places it back on the shelf in the reading room. What book is this? Sheesh. Ludmilla learned to read at a very young age, but aside from Truth and Justice, she hasn't actually finished many books. She couldn't really explain why she was randomly flipping through a book on Sargonian history in Rhodes Island's reading room, or why she was drawn to a record detailing how a dancer assassinated a padishah. Soon after, she looked for more material, finding similar tales in the histories of every nation. A dancer, a waiter, a servant, a soldier. Most of them left behind no name, and even less of them met a happy end. But their very existence is enough to remind kings and sovereigns about one simple fact. They can play with politics, with the people, even the order of the entire nation. But even an insignificant grain of sand can become a blade hanging above their heads. A crown slayer? Crown Slayer liked these stories. She was actively looking them up. Was she able to ever ask Kelsey the stuff that she wanted, though? Probably not, right? Yeah, looks like she'll be involving herself in Ursus. Like, ooh, all the secrets. I really want her pizza. I want to have the food that she makes. It must be good. It must be really, really good. One slice, please. And ooh, she has multiple of these. Look at that blade, the Crown Slayer. This painting is the most famed of Valentin's works. Purchased on recommendation some years ago, parted with about 1 million Chivancy for it. Duke Pop effusively tells the government inspector as he introduces his collection. And here we have a precious night pearl recovered from an East Mountain. Only 2 in the entire empire, one of them here with me and the other in the hands of Duke Beria. You mean this one? The inspector pulls a gemstone out of her pocket, the size of a bird and beast eyeball. Sheesh, that's huge. Glowing in a faint green. Well, good inspector, you clearly know your treasuries. Growls the Duke, loath as he is too. His territory is 10th on the inspector's rounds. And the first 9 are all extravagant. When it comes time for bribes, not one inspector hasn't been thoroughly spoiled by the time they make it here. The inspector shows up to a corner of the collection and picks up an altogether unremarkable and an antiquated military saber, toying with it amusedly in her hands. Its edges polished to a shine, reflecting her carmine eyes. What fine taste you have! As if he's caught sight of a prey in his trap, the Duke bustles over to the ingratiate himself. This precious sword here was one bestowed by the previous star, a perfect spell for you to take back to deity Grifferberg, I might think. How could I repay your generosity for such a precious article, Duke? The inspector makes her second question. I simply ask that on your return to Grifferberg, that you might recount my service to His Majesty, so I could take part in the capital when he grants his subjects. So you're telling me you want the Empire to know your mind's service, 10 years accident-free, accomplished by having everyone who knew of the disaster there buried in a collapsed shaft? The inspector's words completely blindside the Duke, and the sycophantic smile freezes on his face. You want the Empire to know of the 10,000 bandits you killed when half of them were refugees starving to death in your territory? The color in the Duke's face goes from pale to ghastly. He's never met an inspector like this before. Or maybe you want the Empire to know that you and the past 9 Dukes were all such devout and loyal executioners. The government inspector, with the ceremonial saber at hand, has cast a night pearl worth of a king's ransom straight aside. She pulls off her hood, revealing her fiery red hair. The Duke meets her eyes and they call to mind the recent rumor. Only a few years ago, the Crown Slayer, whoever she was, had returned to Ursus. It couldn't be. Are they all? The Duke tries to ask, but can only saw the rest of his sentence, along with his fear. If there was an inspector visiting, and if the Empire did know of all your deeds, maybe they would have given you shiny new prizes for it. Duke Prop is dying to run, to scream for help, but before he knows it, thick and choking smoke coiling about him has stolen his voice. It's a real shame the Empire can't hear your cries. The inspector raises a saber, but don't worry, the Crown Slayer will grant you your reward. Ooh. The way they're trying to give her all the treasures, though, it's like, ooh, bribery. But nope. Nope, nope, nope. Let's see how this one goes. Charcoal. A charcoal drawing. A noisy afternoon, she buries her face in her father's arms to hide from the scorching sun. Her father makes her greet the people standing behind the glass. She cannot make out who they are from their blurry visages. Ludmilla, someone calls her. She recognizes that warm voice. Her father often quotes that person and likes to leave a lot of comments beside their work. Watching Ludmilla doodle all over the floor with charcoal, the voice sighs and hands the girl some paper and a wet towel to wipe her hands with. Aw, no wonder why she was drawing with charcoal on the bridge. Ludmilla does not mind it, for it doesn't matter where she doodles. Ludmilla Ilian... Ilian... Nichna? Someone else calls her name, his body emanating the scent of tobacco she hates. What are you drawing? Who let you draw these? Everything in this research institute has to remain confidential. Do you know what that word means? Enough, Sergei. It's child engaging in pure creativity. So says the voice that handed her the paper. You ought to take a break. You're too tense. I have a daughter too, but I prefer not to bring her here. Also, you best get rid of these drawings. For your teacher's sake. You know how it is out there. It'd be best for everyone. The hateful man leaves. She raises her head and compares her work with the structure in front of her. The warm voice approaches. I believe it's still possible to record your feelings about something you have no understanding of. So can you show me your drawings? She nods. You have a good eye for lines and shadows. Just look at these scary shadows. You drew them like huge dark clouds weighing down on everyone's heads. But the thing is harder and much heavier, I can tell. This institute is oppressing you, making you afraid. The voice sighs again. We call it a sarcophagus. We all feel the same way you do, but we're hoping that what we can do here can change our feelings towards it. You might even clear the dark clouds above with your own hands, Ludmilla. The voice becomes a little nervous. Will you trust me? Give me those drawings, like you're passing on your fear to me. I'll return them to you when we're done with our work here. I believe that by the time the date comes, you'll no longer be afraid of it. She hands over the drawings almost instantly, as if agreeing with that voice. Ludmilla, as long as I'm alive, I will find a way to return these to you, and if something happens to me and I'm unable to keep them safe, I'll help you destroy them. Now your father's coming over, don't tell him about this. There's no need to distract him from his work. Her father comes over and wipes the charcoal off her hands with a handkerchief. He looks into her eyes and says, Luda. A shrill alarm sounds. Crown Slayer's eyes flick open. The charcoal stick in her hand has already broken into 3 pieces. Papers covered in old drawings are spread out all over, with huge shadows and clear silhouettes. She briefly stays in a trance before realizing she's standing in Kelsey's office with no one else inside. The drawings before her are from 20 years ago, and not her fresh work of art. Tossed to one side, the envelope bears Kelsey's signature, agreeing to seal them. Aw. The prior promise has been fulfilled. A secret promise not even Kelsey knew about. Does it mean the person managed to walk out of the institute alive? You and the doctor are organizing a group of Rhodes Islanders to go to Ursus, right? I remember something. No, Amiya, I'm not telling you for free. I want to negotiate a proper deal. Ah, so that's how she goes to Ursus. I know it's nice though, how the promise was fulfilled. Like, that's sweet. The connection is very, very bittersweet. Like, of course, Kelsey would not have wanted that to happen. All the drama to happen, but... like, because it did. Sheesh. And there's not really much closure for her, too, since, you know... no more Kelsey, only monster. So that must leave, like, a weird feeling for Luda. Like, I feel bad for her. So hopefully going to Ursus will help clear her head a bit. So interesting, I wonder how the proper deal will be. I want to negotiate a proper deal. Like, ooh. And now, Civila Eterna. Oh, sweet, sweet Civila Eterna. As time itself. I know you're growing up. It's alright. It's good. Ooh, log. RIFLDOP 41A0D 7FC. Link unit VI03. Executor, Volnick. Migrated. Log RIFLDOP 41A0D 810. Link unit UR06. Executors: Durnar, Rosa, Zima, Estina, Gummy, Leto. Migrated. Log: Zoot sys init. Initiate system. Restore sequence. Establishing cross verification link with node DWDB221E. Authorization code CE. Referencing multi-core tactics. Index schema. Bio ID. Sys ghosts. Verifying compatibility. Log: Zoot HR rec update. Entry: encrypted. Status change: active to archived. Record update committed. Edit note. Cancel. Record update committed. Interesting. What a start. Phew. What time is it? Did I oversleep? I need to hurry. Huh? What am I in a hurry for? Ooh, hello, welcome. Thank you for the raid. I hope your stream went by well. Amiya comes to her senses. There's a knock at her door by a gentle hand. I'll be right there. Good morning, Amiya. Ooh, it's bright. Oh, the field. The corridor's gone? Pushing the door open, Amiya steps into the wind. Summer's only just arrived. An azure sky hangs low, blanketed by thick piles of white clouds. She steps into an early summer meadow, bent grass blades scratching her feet as dew slides down the creases of stems and leaves, spraying the scent of grass into the air. Oh, it's little Amiya. Good morning. You finally woke up. Good morning. Now that's out of the way, it's time for the important stuff. Did you find them yet? No. Why you sleep then? You lost them all. Aren't you worried? I'm heading out to look for them right now. Do you know where I lost them? I should be asking you that. Aren't you always with them? If you don't know where they went, if you don't want to go looking for them, who do you think is going to find them? You're right. I'm the one who'd know where they went. Where did we part ways? When I saw you guys lying on that big snoring burning beast in the waste, did you lose them then? Bird and beast. No, that wasn't a bird and beast. You mean the mountain, right? The child looks in the direction that Amiya's pointing. At the end of the plain sits a colossal mountain under the transparent sunlight. In a blink, the sun seems to solidify, as if the entire mountain has been encased in a giant amber. Amiya closes her eyes in disbelief and opens them again to see the mountain back to normal. Did it ever snore? Amiya has doubts. It seems so silent right now. It wasn't a bird and beast? Anyways, if you think that's a spot, then it's where you should be headed. You should go now, right? Who knows? Maybe they have been waiting long for you, and you shouldn't keep them waiting. Besides, you don't have much time, do you? You're right. Amiya politely thanks the child for waking her up. Then she walks through the early summer breeze towards the giant mountain. Behind Amiya, the wind coils into an open cabin. A shadow quietly stands next to the narrow bed, looking at Amiya and the child past the door. The shadow listens to their conversation, to their farewell, and watches Amiya walk toward the giant mountain. After leaving the cabin, Amiya never turns back, and so she never sees the shadow. Aw, she's watching. Why are you so hard on yourself? Hard? Me? I'm just a little anxious. If you're really tired, it's fine to wait for... It's fine to rest for a while longer. But I lost everyone. They might be waiting for me. They might even be waiting. They might have been waiting for a long time. Everyone believes in me, so I have to find them quick, or else. Or else what? The fields are so vast, the mountains so high. Getting an early start is the first thing I can do. Yes, you'll do many more things on your journey, so it's fine to take it slow. Will this road be a really long one? I'll always be with you. No matter how long it is, I'll be with you until the end. The young illusion cradles the shadow's neck with her arms and dissipates into the grassy wind without a word. The shadow gets to her feet and turns toward the little figure trudging toward the mountain. The giant mountain peak is flat and wide. From it one can see yet another summit. This is where I last saw them, right? Amiya circles the mountain peak in search of the traces or clues. Will she find their footprints? Did they leave a sign within the shadows cast by the rocks? But the flat and white peak bears all that it has. Other than the sunlight, wind, and dust kicked up by her steps, there's nothing else to be found. Where can I find some clues? Why didn't they tell me where exactly they were going? She looks at her own toes as her heart seems to be weighed down by something. She wants to breathe out, but it seems like her lungs don't have enough air. And then, a small black thing jumps up from the crack in the precipice, dropping into Amiya's arms and scares a shriek out of her. Don't be alarmed. Sorry. I didn't think I'd find a cloud beast here. I heard your question. Perhaps you missed it, but they did tell you. As far as I know, they sent you a letter. A letter? Amiya holds a cloud beast with her left hand, letting it calmly sit in her arm as she rifles through her pockets with her right hand. Left to right, she feels something soft, her fingertips touch something damp. So there really was a letter right in my pocket. I'm glad it didn't fall out. She cautiously pats her right pocket. She has worn this jacket for a long time. You shouldn't stuff your pocket so much. Read it, perhaps you might find the information you need, where they might have gone. But I can't read a single word. Amiya holds a cloud beast's fluffy body with her left hand, and together with her right, tries her best to straighten the soggy paper. It's thoroughly soaked. I see, you couldn't find them because the letter was damaged, and you couldn't read the information within. Who did this? Amiya lowers her head, unsure how to answer the cloud beast, because she was the one who drenched it. I couldn't help it. The water came out just like that. It kept flowing from my face. No matter how much I tried to stop it, I couldn't. In the end, the whole letter was soaked. The cloud beast lets out a somewhat astonished upon hearing Amiya's answer, and jumps into Amiya's shoulder. As if conducting a physical examination, the cloud beast carefully examines Amiya's face, even raising its front paw to cautiously touch her cheek in different spots. The feeling is somewhat familiar, like a doctor's touch. This isn't right. Water should not be seeping out from puppet faces. We need to consider the possibility of malfunction, or even failure of bodily functions, and figure out a solution. Amiya also touches her own cheek and shakes her head. I don't know. The cloud beast jumps up to Amiya's head, contemplates for a moment, then jumps back into Amiya's arms. It looks like a creature deep in thought. I understand. You should look for the magician. The magician. Oh yes, the magician can do anything. Good. Let the magician fix you, so water no longer seeps through. This way, the letter won't be soaked and unreadable. Once you can read the information written on it, you'll know where they went. If you say so, I will. But where do I find the magician? I walked through the whole field, climbed into the top of the giant mountain, but I haven't seen anyone else other than the kid who woke me up, and you. It might be Kelsey. She did say a doctor's touch after all. Is that so? That is somewhat strange. When you meet the magician, ask for an eye exam too. But I have to find the magician first. You can find the magician. You're the only one who can. Could you at least tell me which direction I should head in? The cloud beast lowers its eyes as if from exhaustion. Amiya notices it, trying to stifle a yawn. You need to go at once. The cloud beast shakes its head as if to stave off its drowsiness. It leaps once more into Amiya's head. Amiya feels a gentle kick on her ear and feels a weight vanish as the cloud beast leaps into the fading light, disappearing into the approaching dusk. Amiya looks up, trying to find the creature, but the open and flat mountaintop is completely deserted. She pulls the letter back into her jacket. After patting her pocket, Amiya makes up her mind and closes her eyes. She's a little nervous, but fortunately, she can do it. Like the leaping cloud beast earlier, she runs a ways, then jumps off the edge of the cliff. Amiya's long ponytail draws arcs in the air as she runs, captured in the shadow's eyes. Amiya leaps off the cliff, into the formless air. The shadow raises her pale face. Amiya does not turn back, and the shadow remains standing, far behind her. The shadow sighs softly, recalling the early conversation between Amiya and the cloud beast. She reaches out, and the cloud beast emerges from the air, standing on the shadow's palm. I've done what I had to. Is that what you think? She needs a guide. That has always been my responsibility. If we're talking about your true self, I actually think you should have given her something else. I shouldn't be the one to grant her those things. Why not? She's always been so dependent on you. My point is, you are more suited to the role than I am. You know, she and I made a promise. I'll appear whenever she calls for me. She knows I'm always there, but she's been calling for me less and less the past few years. She's no longer a child. The shadow recalls when they first met. Oh, sorry, the shadow always gets it wrong. When they first met actually happened a little later. Amiya was once a girl who would snuggle up to her, bring a few tears into the fabric of her shoulder. She would then raise her head to look at the shadow's eyes and smile. The shadow spent some time learning these smiles, so she could use them too. But time passed faster than she could perceive it, something she originally found hard to grasp. Though it's not as if she doesn't know why Amiya no longer calls for her. Amiya is growing up, the shadow thinks. Actually, it isn't so much about how you think, but what she wants now. Of course, after all, I am one of the people she's looking for. So why would she seek solace from me? I have become one of her responsibilities too. She would not allow herself to remove her emotions from her responsibilities. Though perhaps that one can. Are you going to follow her? Do you want to meet the magician? I'll accompany her. It is the reason I exist in this form. If she's willing to ask a magician for help, I won't have to break our promise and show up without her summoning me. If not, I should decide then whether or not to fulfill my obligations. I thought your promise and these obligation were one and the same. Logically speaking, yes. Alright, I'll leave it to you. The shadow and the cloud beast bid each other goodbye. The conversation lasted longer than she expected. As twilight draws near, she has to catch up with Amiya as soon as she can. What an interesting dream Amiya's having. Amiya? Amiya? Oh no, how far did she get? Amiya leaps off the cliff, but does not fall. She rises into the sky, stepping in the air and sparks of dust, searching for the magician among the stars and clouds. Strange. The magician isn't among the stars. Amiya jumps into a cloud, then another, asking them to move aside so she can see what lies behind, then asks them to congregate, becoming a soft bridge. Amiya's always been a patient girl and never fears disappointment, so she manages to find the magician in the end. Hello, my magician. There's something I need urgently. Could you please fix me? I lost people very important to me, and I have to find them as soon as I can. I don't know why, but my face keeps leaking water, soaking the letter they gave me, so I can't read a single word. Why would water even leak from a puppet's face? The cloud beast is right. Maybe I'm broken. Kelsey seems to be the type that needs some push to lean on someone, but Amiya, she's always been on the side of someone to be leaned on. When it comes to responsibility and duty, someone to store her emotions and build it all up. It's not as if she doesn't want for someone to lean on, but doesn't have the opportunity because she is so occupied. Yeah, that could be why she's having the dream. Oh, great magician. Could you please fix me up quickly? I'm really in a hurry. I have to read what's on the letter and find them. Oh, Mia, you're not broken. You're just crying. Tears don't mean you're damaged inside. The puppet can cry too? The river of tears is already long enough. It's alright, Amiya. It's alright. Everyone cries. We can't stop the river of tears from flowing, even if we cover our eyes and faces. If the river dries up, the heart does too. If your heart shrivels up, there won't be space for those dear to you to fit in, right? The magician wipes Amiya's cheek. The spot turns damp again. Amiya, you can't see it, but your tears are shining. Oh, maybe because the stars are out and the light's reflecting on your face. Trust me, Amiya. I do. I always have and will, but the letter... I'll help you. This won't be hard. The magician summons 10 clouds, enveloping the two. Bright red clouds like the sunset that feel warm, even a little hot to the touch. The magician asks Amiya to unfold the letter, hold it in her fingers, and hang it from a cloud. What was that one story that Amiya liked a lot as a kid? The one where the character goes on an adventure. Were they a puppet too? Maybe she wants to be that main character. In just a short while, the fiery cloud's shade of red fades into a gray and turns damp. The fiery cloud nods to the magician. Never mind where its head even is. It's what the magician says, and strolls onto the troposphere. Yeah, the one that Teresa told her. This happens 10 times, and Amiya picks up the letter. Now dry and firm, no longer damp and flimsy. The letter's words stand up straight, in a neat line, every stroke now rendered clear. Amiya takes a quick glance. Phew. Having done all that, the magician droops, settling into a thick cloud. Are you alright? You seem exhausted. Calling these clouds out and making them proper is no easy feat, but I'll be fine after a brief rest. So what does the letter say? Where do they go? I can look for them with you. Amiya's pondering on how to answer the magician when she sees the sparkles on the other's face, like starlight falling across the magician's visage. She suddenly recalls herself rushing the magician for help, focusing on her own troubles and worries, asking the magician to dry the letter with magic, but clearly, they are important to the magician as well. Before she arrived, he was a magician, crying too. Immediately, an overwhelming sense of guilt rushes into her heart, enveloping her like a giant bubble. Amiya kneels within it, fist pounding on the transparent membrane. It seems so fragile and thin, with its swirling liquid, and she fails to pop it no matter what she does. Amiya sees the magician's lips move, as if saying something to her of urgency. But the bubble quickly wobbles away, with the letter still in Amiya's hand. The shadow arrives somewhat late, coming just as the bubble floats away. If the shadow thinks she was a little earlier, could she have gotten to talk to the magician? She looks at the figure by the stars. The magician is already standing, seemingly wanting to grab the bubble, but it immediately slips through the magician's fingertips. The shadow subconsciously smiles. The magician looks up and sees her. It's time to catch up with the floating bubble. The shadow shakes her head at the magician. The magician blinks and nods to the shadow. How unfortunate her slight lateness leaves them no time to exchange even a few words. But fortunately, there's still just enough time for them to trade glances. I'm assuming the magician's the doctor. Beyond the clouds and stars, the magician watches a shadow disappear into the distance. The bubble with Amiya inside drifts towards the desert. Perhaps the dry air finally evaporates, all moisture from the bubble, for it bursts with a pop. Hot air endlessly rises from the desert surface, bumping Amiya down to the ground. Amiya tries to stand. She grabs the sand, but the heat makes her pull back. She then uses her sleeve as padding, which helps a little. She reads the letter again. Amiya, I wish you a smooth journey. If these words ever reach you, Amiya, you showed it all this for the sarcasm, and I feel ashamed for whenever I think of it. I can't take you away from the battlefield, and it may sound irresponsible, but Amiya, I hope you will treasure yourself, and don't forget, no matter how cruel your battlefield can be. Aww. Amiya, you told me before that I don't misjudge people. So please take my advice. Save some of your own gentleness for yourself, forget your burdens on occasion, and indulge a sweet treat every now and then. You have a long journey ahead of you. She misses Teresa. I will protect all of you until the end. The letter does not mention where they went, or perhaps there's no need to say. The letter only contains many requests and farewells. Amiya holds them in her hands, looking to the horizon. Does the end of the desert lie on the other side? I have to go. Even if I can't find them, I have to find my own way out. There's so much to do. There's so many people that need me. Amiya walks. The sun cooks her back, casting a shadow before her. Time passes, but the sunlight does not fade, as the blazing sun hangs high, never setting. The bright light casts a shadow with knife-sharp, jagged edges. Amiya's every step forward treads on the boundary between black shadow and white sand. Amiya walks. The sun scorches her neck, as sweat rolls down her brows and into her eyes, as sweat on her forehead evaporates into dry salt crystals. She cannot tell if her distorted vision is caused by the heat waves or the stinging in her eyes. Amiya walks. Sudden gusts of wind throws sand and gravel into her face, while breathing dry air feels like inhaling blades slicing her into her windpipe. She tries to cover her mouth to retain any shred of moisture from her breaths, and her lips touch a paper in her hand. Amiya walks. She seems unable to stand upright any longer, but even so she trudges onward, knees bent, pulling her legs from quicksand it's like drawing a rusty sword from its scabbard. Was the sensation under her feet actually coming from her own body? Thoughts like these drift through her hazy mind like wisps of cotton. The shadow remains far behind Amiya. She can see further than Amiya can. She sees what lies away in front of Amiya. The desert edge receding with the young courteous steps, always a step away from the horizon. The shadow notices Amiya's eyes are almost shut, but she trudges on. Despite this, she remains in the middle of the desert. Until Amiya allows herself to exit, the desert will go on forever. The Black Crown's master is prone to dreams. Many dreams do not come from themselves, but the shadow can tell them apart, and knows Amiya is the master of this dreamland. The shadow pauses. She makes up her mind. She has not done this in a long time, but neither has she seen Amiya like this in a long time. Time to give her an assist? Amiya looks up, and the color she hasn't seen for a long time flashes in the corner of her eye. A verdant shade, even the wind blowing past her face holds the tiniest bit of moisture. An oasis! But there shouldn't be an oasis here. No, I can't. Walk to the mirage. Amiya turns around, avoiding the oasis. And a strange thing happens. The oasis lifts itself up from the bottom. What bottom exactly? 4 legs stretch out like the feet of a wooden wardrobe. A wardrobe's feet will never be as flexible as these ones, but the legs move left and right as it rotates its, ankles to warm up. Then it starts running and lands with a thump right before Amiya. Her eyes widen. She tries to go a few steps to the right, and the oasis lifts itself up to follow suit. Oh, you think she had faith that she would inherit her will? Amiya moves slightly to the left, and the oasis once again stretches its legs. Amiya cautiously takes a step back. The oasis picks itself up and charges straight at Amiya. It's like, oh heck no, Amiya, you're taking this help. My gosh darn, Amiya. Accept the help. It then suddenly lands itself before her. The teal lake ripples in gentle waves, swaying Amiya's reflection in the water. Finally, in the stream, she turns around for the first time to look behind her, but finds no one, only the wind and sand from the path behind her. Is that you? There's no answer. But as Amiya turns around, the shadow is already in front of her, as if she was always there with the same smile in Amiya's memories. Amiya. The serene expression overlaps with the smile Amiya remembers. She is momentarily speechless. The shadow also sees Amiya's memories, and so holds Amiya in a gentle embrace, just as the memories play out. Teresa. The shadow gently pats the girl's back, as if in response. I couldn't. I didn't stop it. It's happened so many times. Dr. Kelsey made so many preparations, but I couldn't bring them back. There's so many important people. What should I do? I know I'm not the only one in pain, but I have to rely on. Everyone needs a shoulder to lean on, but I carry everyone's trust on my shoulders. So how can I wallow in sorrow? I just have too little time. Had I the time of myself, I wanted to tell you, not everything can be brought back. To bear a burden also means accepting the irreversible. But I know you're just really hurt. You just wish you could have done something. I know how it feels, but I also feel awful. Amiya's tears fall as they always have, but this time they no longer soak fabric. Instead, they slide into a gap between shadow and dream. Water droplets fall through the shadow and dissipate like mist before touching Amiya's fingertips. Amiya looks up at the shadow's face, tears welling up in her eyes, a sadness that stirs up a different sort of sorrow. Amiya is no longer a child. She was too big to lie in the shadow's lap for a long time ago. People always say Amiya is a precocious child, taking on responsibilities far beyond her age, but Amiya knows she herself has indulged in the privileges of being a child. For example, once within a nightmare, she had held onto the shadow's fingers while feigning ignorance, telling her the trivialities that she already knew. Or like now, as she presses her forehead against something warm, confiding in the familiar. Even though she is long dead and gone, the shadow smiles at her like an echo. Amiya closes her eyes, new tears spilling out, rolling down her cheeks. She suddenly feels an unbearable sorrow. Teresa, please, you no longer have to. The shadow reaches out and touches Amiya's forehead. They made a promise. The shadow will appear whenever Amiya calls for her. Amiya needs only to refuse the shadow and she will disappear. Poor Amiya. Unspoken words linger in the air, but the shadow remains standing. She leans down and leaves a somewhat strained kiss on Amiya's head, then stands up and waits. But Amiya comes to her senses and her vulnerable state leaves her open to making another mistake. I think Amiya needs a hug. How could I have said that? I'm sorry, Teresa. And yes, I will let you turn off. Loves Amiya too. But that's her own unique love for Amiya. The shadow stops smiling and Amiya's sorrowful expression appears on her face. She hugs Amiya again, her cheek pressing against Amiya's temple. This way, Amiya cannot see the sadness on her face. As she gently pats the courteous's back, she says, Amiya, don't worry about me. You will never hurt me. You never have to apologize to me. I know you're growing up. It's alright. It's good. I'm always here. As she finishes, the shadow releases Amiya from her embrace, squeezes her hand, and vanishes. The endless stretch of sand disappears without a trace, and in the void within the void, the teal lake ripples slowly, the moist wind still tender. Good morning, Amiya. Amiya opens her eyes, they sting a little, her hair and pillow are wet. Someone is holding her hand. Amiya, you're awake. She needs only to refuse and to disappear. Nah. Civil Eternal wouldn't do that. Yep, she wouldn't. Heck, she even broke the original promise of, I'll only appear when you call out to me. She's like, nah. Amiya's suffering too much. Let me give her an oasis. I watched her for far too long. Doctor? It's so dark outside. Is it morning already? Yeah, seems like it'll rain today. Over there in the forest. It's fine, let's set off before the rain falls. Are you alright, Amiya? You had a nightmare. Are you alright? I did have a really exhausting dream. But it had a happy ending. Because someone was with me. We went through the dream together. So doctor, I'll go with you too. Amiya wipes some moisture from her eyes, removing any traces of water, and smiles at you. ND, DWDB, ready. Time data, 8141. I broke our promise to fulfill my obligation, even though these two are logically the same, and there should not be a situation in which one is affirmed while the other is nullified. But it did happen. I checked the progress logs, but found no errors. Additionally, I really believe that this was the right choice before the verification happened. Just like the request Amiya made to me. I also had a premonition of something I long knew. Amiya will grow and change. Ooh, a time when Amiya's vulnerable. The only other time really is when you first meet her. At the bottom of the mine. Little baby Amiya. One question. Will there be a day when she will no longer need my company? Another question. Logically speaking, Amiya will cease to exist in the foreseeable future. In this situation, what should I do? Strictly speaking, Civil Eterna grows the same way as time. But the more I learn about Amiya, the more I run into events that show I don't understand me at all. However, just as when I started to believe, contradictory circumstances also became valid. I also believe the question of what I should do is a topic not worth worrying about. It may be far from inception, but Civil Eterna was defined to be a management device for all memories. But now I'm beginning to understand what memories are. That problem is not worth worrying over because I have learned I too have memories. Even if they are memories of sorrow. Or perhaps they are memories of love. Of love. ND DWB closed. Civil Eterna is becoming your own person now. All thanks to her supporting Amiya. That is a sad question though that she asked at the end. Or towards the end. It's like, what will happen when Amiya ceases to exist? It's like, no, don't think like that. Come on. Yeah. No wonder why the quote over here is, I know you're growing up. It's alright, it's good. It must be extra bittersweet for her watching over Amiya. She's like my daughter, Amiya. Like, hers was the most emotional out of all of them tonight, but my favorite one overall was... surprisingly, Crown Slayer. By Ludmilla. Her and her pizza. Also, I feel bad for her family. Like, her parents... Like, heck, even her dad admitted to being very, very greedy. Like, father, why? Gosh darn it, father. It's like, I know I should be doing this, this, and this. Or I could be doing this, this, and this, but I can't. I want both. I want everything. I can't wait to see what she does in Ursus. That's gonna be fun. Like, that's a good prep. Amiya needs to see her more to know that she's a different person. At the same time, I can see why Amiya wouldn't want to really rely on her too much. She wants to be the strong leader for everyone after all. But no, Mia, you need someone else too by your side. Hopefully she understands that Civilly Eterna is there for her. Like, oh, Mia, precious Mia. Oh dang, sorry, the next chapter's gonna be fun. Oh, I'm ready for all the craziness. But that'll be for another time since... almost time for dinner in this case. Ehehehe. I'm gonna enjoy a salad. Assuming no one ate my salad. If they ate my salad, then gosh darn it. It's understandable though to an extent since... it was in the fridge since yesterday because I was too lazy to eat it. That's 1000% my bad. And yeah, it was nice seeing the other side of Amiya. And Civilly Eterna, this one was really, really sweet. It was the most emotional one. I will have to give an honorable mention to Monster though. Monster and Blaze. That was a duo I never thought I needed, but I want to see her bonding with Blaze. And see how crazy Monster gets. Monster with her breath attacks, nut cracking, and stool racing. Like, that is just a funny thought. That'd make for a funny comic. But I'll be good and see if my dinner's there still. And I'll start the next chapter next time. So with that being said, thank you everyone for stopping by the stream. I hope everyone has a great rest of the day at Epic Gacha Luck. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye. Woohoo! Success! Let me switch back. Thingy hee hee hee.